Longest Turn. This is episode 69, Top 50 All-Time, Part 2. My name is Tyler.
Hello, this is Kevin.
This is Tyson.
In this episode, we're going to continue our countdown of our top 50 games, starting with number 30, going down to 11. It's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful, and it's a lot of games.
It is a lot of games.
We said that last time.
Yet again, for the second episode in a row. Yeah.
And it was like almost a 3-hour episode last time.
I'm impressed that we talked about essentially 60 games in less than 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, we did pretty good.
I mean, we did pretty good job keeping it under 3 minutes per game.
Right. Let's see if we can keep this in under 4 hours. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because the games are getting better.
Under four?
Yeah.
The games are getting better. We're going to want to talk about the games more.
We may have more to say. Yeah.
I assume we're going to have more crossover, though, as we get closer to our top 10.
Fair.
Good potential there.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Tune in to find out.
Yeah. Should we just jump right into it?
Let's jump right in.
Yeah. Enough banter.
Yeah, right. Who wants banter? Let's get to the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just keep the same order.
Same order? Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, my number 30. This is designed by Hjalmar Hawk and Lorenzo Silva. It's a train game. Railroad Inc.
Oh, okay.
Yep, nice. Railroad Inc. This game is a fantastic roll and write game. You're drawing routes on this dry erase board. You're trying to connect to exits on the board. There's a million expansions to this game, which is really fun. You can just add 2 dice to it, and it completely changes up how the game plays. This game is also on BGA, which is really cool. It's some people's preferred way to play.
It is. There were 2 things that stood out about this game. I think we all really like this game.
Absolutely.
One is I don't like to draw and erase and draw. And
you hate that.
I just would rather play this on Board Game Arena. It's still fun on the table, but This is one of those games that I would prefer on BGA. The second thing that stands out to me is, at least for a time, Tyson was not very good at this game.
I think he lost. That's what I was going to say. In spite of the fact that I'm terrible at this game, I really enjoy it. I think this is the most consistently lost game for me. Like, I do not win this game.
How many in a row was it that you?
It's like 20.
You lost.
It's no small number.
Yeah. So that's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
I also love how you're using the same pool of dice. Everybody is, right? And you get a drastically different board. It's fun to see how people's brains work different ways, right? And you look and see, oh, you did that and I did this, and it's just really cool, really fun.
And the variations and the different sets and just change it up and make for very different plays.
Absolutely. It's a great game. Love it. I backed the Kickstarter a few years ago, so I have all kinds of content to still explore. So that's my number 30, Railroad Inc.
Nice.
My number 30 is a game that was on my list previously in our top 30. It has come down slightly because we haven't played it. We've had this conversation already, right? Games that we don't play all that often sometimes will go down on our list. This is a game that Tyler has a copy coming of that I think we should see more plays of this soon. So I'm hoping it goes back up. Coloma is what I'm talking about. I love this game. We played a few of these games back to back for a while, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's got a lot of interesting mechanisms in it with the action selection wheel and the bidding and trying to pick something different than somebody else, but being okay with it if more people select it. I think it's got a lot of really interesting things going on. I really like the production quality on this game. I think it's really well done. And I think that Final Frontier Games, who have published a lot of great games since, this was a really good early game for them in my eyes. And it's one that I want to continue playing and see more of.
So you didn't back this?
I didn't, because you backed it, and I chose not to back it. And I even said, I think, something to you, well, what's the point in having in our group another copy when Ben already has this game and we don't get it played all that much? So why would I? I think Dan does too.
Yeah, it's a great game. I really enjoyed the plays that we had of it. I look forward to getting this. It barely fell off my list just because we haven't gone back to it in a couple of years. So yeah, as soon as that fulfills, it's definitely going to get to the table. Excited to explore the new content, and it'll be good to play it again because it does have a really cool
The magnet thing is great.
Yeah, the
right?
action selection.
Well, and thematically for me, like I used to have Western Legends in my collection, and that kind of filled this niche of the Old West kind of vibe. I don't have any real Old West games in my collection anymore. Maybe,
Bank?
Yeah, maybe a couple of smaller games, social deduction
Doesn't quite,
ones I do have. But it
match
doesn't give me the vibe that I'm looking for here.
Yeah.
But Coloma does, so it fills a niche, a theme niche that I think I appreciate having. So that's one of the other reasons it's on this list.
Very nice.
So yeah, that is my number 30, Coloma.
All right, my number 30 is a game that I don't own. This is designed by Germain P. Millian, and the artist is Edu Valls, and this is published by Devere Games. Tyson's shaking his head. I think he knows what it might be.
I know the designer, and I'm trying to think which game it is.
Ben owns this in our group. It is Bitoku.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yep.
This game, when you look at the board, it's very busy.
Makes your head hurt.
But it's beautiful. This game would go great on a game night with Living Forest. Kind of similar themes.
Same thing. But still similar.
Yeah. But I love the flow of this game. It seems a little overwhelming at first, but it's got tons of different little mini games kind of built into it, and I feel like they just play so well with each other. And there isn't one dominant strategy, I don't think, and you can't focus on everything. You pick a few of the things to focus on. I just feel like it's really well balanced, and it's a beautiful game. Everything flows to the top of the board. I love so you're placing dice, right? And when you place a 6 in a spot or a location, for anybody else to go in that location, they have to play a 6 as well. Or whatever you play, whatever's the highest is played, they have to play that or higher to use that selection.
So you can block areas.
You can block areas. I love dice placement games.
I do too, and that I think was one of the things I was going to mention when you started talking about this, is the dice placement in this game is unique in that a lot of like worker placement style games is you go to a spot and you block it out, right? And that's the block. Well, that's not necessarily true, because in this dice worker placement, if you have the value at least, you can continue to go to that spot. But I love the strategy that unfolds of, I have a 6 here. Where am I going to place this 6? Right. Because, and when am I going to place this 6? Because it may make it so that nobody else can take this action for the rest of the round, or makes it very costly for them to do so. And so I love that interaction in this game.
Yeah, that is interesting. You guys have played this more than I have, I think. I played it one time at Ben's house, and that's one thing I do remember about the game is I camped out on a few spots and blocked those off.
You did it very efficiently.
Yeah, and it was fun. That was a fun aspect of the game. So I would love to revisit this one again.
Yeah,
for sure.
I've almost pulled the trigger on buying this, but then it's already in the group.
Can't have them all.
You can't have them all, but I will probably at some point buy this game anyway. I love it. I think it's fantastic design, and it's a little overwhelming at the start when you're getting the rules teach.
For sure.
But once you start playing the game, like I said, it just flows naturally to the top. There's so many different bonuses and triggering things of actions and rewards, and I don't know. It just feels very unique, and you can play the game completely different than someone else at the table and have similar results, which I think is fantastic. So that's my number 30, Bitoku.
Nice. 3 games down.
Woo! We're done, right? That's
right?
57 more to go.
Oh. Right. 4 hours, here we come. All right, my number 29. Oh, by the way, Railroad Inc., it was number 19. Last time we did this list.
Nice.
This game I'm going to talk about now was number 22 last time we did the list. It's designed by Herve Marley. I have 55 plays of this game. Do you know what it is?
I believe I do. It has a candy skull on the front, right?
This is correct.
Yeah.
It is Skull. Yes. Fantastic bluffing game. I absolutely love this one. Super easy to teach. You can teach this game in a minute and get playing. You have 4 coasters that you play, and there's 3 of them that have flowers, 1 of them that has a skull. You place them face down, and the whole point of the game is you're going to start an auction. You're going to say, I can flip over a certain number of these coasters without flipping over a skull. The trick is you have to flip yours over first, and then you go around the table and flip everybody else's over. That's really high level how it works. The interaction that you have around the table is always, I love it. You're trying to get in people's heads. You're trying to switch up how you bid. And it's always exciting when you're flipping over, that last coaster. Is it going to be a skull? Is it going to be a flower? If you win twice, if you get it twice, then you win the game. And it's just created so many fun memories for me and my family. We play it over FaceTime. Just have a ton of plays of this one and just absolutely love it.
I think the fact that they decided to go with coasters for this game adds a certain level of charm that playing with cards or something similar just wouldn't have given it the same feeling that this game has. And the gameplay is phenomenal. It's a great experience, but I think like I said, it adds a certain charm when you're playing with these coasters that have like that big art on it, and it's a big piece, and it's so fun to be able to flip somebody else's coasters over and then be really disappointed when they have the skull and you were convinced they didn't have the skull.
And when you are the one that has the skull that they flip over, you're like, yeah, sucker. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha.
Inevitably, there's a player at the table that always plays a skull.
Usually, but sometimes if you time it right, you're good. Like, okay, if you have the bid, you can bid all of them, and say, I'm flip over everybody, and you get it right. Yeah. This game is funny because I usually either win or I lose horribly. Right.
Okay.
Because I'm always, initiating a bidding round, so.
I heard a good variation on it.
I think it's terrible, your variation.
To play blind.
No, it's absolutely horrible. All right. Well, that's my number 29, Skull.
My number 29 is a game that was also on somebody else's list earlier. And by earlier, I mean last episode. But it is new to my list altogether. It's Distilled, designed by Dave Beck and published by Paverson Games. It's their first game. We've already talked about this. We've already talked about why we like this game, but I had to have this on my list. I've just finished a game on BGA recently, and I got completely annihilated, like completely blown out of the water, but I still had a really good time with it. I like this game. I think it's a lot of fun. It's unique. It's got its own character to it that is really appealing. Great game.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It was my number 38 this time around, and I was thinking about it after we talked about it in the last episode. I was like, man, we need to go play this again on the table. And
it's fun. Sure. It's fun.
And I don't think you guys have played with the little card expansions.
I haven't played with them. Yeah,
they had some new things. And we should get those played too.
Yeah. So that is my number 29, Distilled.
Nice. My number 29 is also a crossover with Kevin, and I am breaking rules here. This is the Pandemic System.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm excited to hear where it falls on Tyson's list.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm predicting top 10.
Yeah. So this last year last time we did this, when we did our top 30, it was my number 20. It has fallen a little to 29. I'm going to pick specifically Fall of Rome. I love Season 1 and Season 2 Legacy. Still would like to go back to the rest of Season 0 with my family. But my favorite non-Legacy version is Fall of Rome. I love Rising Tide, The Cure, Reign of Cthulhu, Clone Wars. So many good variations.
Clone Wars is fun. I really enjoy that one.
Yeah. But I love Fall of Rome feels completely different, but there's still some underlying bones of pandemic on there, but I love how you're fighting off the hordes of barbarians who are slowly making their way to Rome. And if they sack Rome, that's one of the ways that you can lose. And it's just a very challenging pandemic game. And I love Rome. I think Greek and Roman history is fascinating. Fascinating. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. I think Greek and Roman history is fascinating. I love the theme of Fall of Rome, and I just love all the cooperative experiences that Pandemic has created for my family. My wife loves Pandemic and loves cooperative games, and so this has been, the system as a whole has created so many hours of enjoyment and experiences that we shared together as a family. So that is my number 29, Pandemic System and or Fall of Rome.
It's your number 29. I will say I did rank this one.
You did?
I did.
Where did it fall?
I didn't rank all games. I
Wow.
ranked 187 games in total.
I'm surprised it made your.
Not every game I
187.
played was ranked, but
Okay.
it did make it. It was 186
Oh,
Goodness.
Okay.
of all the
much
games
hate.
I
Hey,
ranked.
but you put it on the list.
It's on the list.
Yeah.
It's a really well designed
So you're
game.
coming around.
It was 37th on Kevin's list, if I didn't already say that.
Yes, it was. And
What's your 28?
my 28. Okay, we've talked about this one quite a bit recently. It is the newest game on my list, and that
great
is
game.
A Jest of Robin Hood.
Oh,
This is fantastic. I mean, whenever we get together, we can't stop talking about this
Yeah,
game, right?
every time.
It's on BGA, which I love the fact that it's on BGA. It fits really well on that platform. Because you can really dig into the strategy and figure out what's going on. You have everybody's plots and deeds in front of you that you can review and know
Amazing.
exactly what they're going to be
perfect.
doing,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is perfect. I just absolutely love it. It's a very tactical game. The theme is fantastic. We've had some fun, exciting games recently. Just love it. Don't need to really talk more about it because we've talked a lot about it recently, but that is A Jest of Robin Hood. My number 28.
My number 28 is a game that I don't know. I can't remember if either of you have actually played this game. It's a game that Tyler owns, and I don't think he's ever played it.
What?
Maybe he's played it once, but it is A Feast for Odin.
oh, I've played this.
You
all
played
the
it
time.
one
the
time
time?
online. You don't play it all the time, do you?
No, I've
You've started playing on BGA?
I've played a bunch on BGA. Let me check.
All right.
Feast for Odin. I have not played it on the table. I do have the Norwegians expansion.
You got a good deal on this
It
one
was
time.
really
didn't
good
you?
deal.
I got
remember,
this
yeah.
for $30.
And didn't tell
$30,
anybody
about
and you
market.
just kept that
I was
information to
boarding a
yourself.
flight, headed home for Thanksgiving weekend
I couldn't send a
to
text.
visit family.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I ordered a bunch of games, got great deals, and the first
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
I did after that was send a text, "Hey, Kevin."
First thing, oh my gosh.
In the middle of boarding, like, "Hey, shut your phones off, everybody."
I heard nothing of the
taking
sort.
off.
Nope,
Hey,
nothing.
Kevin, I'm going to dig up that text and go find out what happened.
I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check the timestamp on the miniature market order.
Yep.
And then 30 seconds later, I send the text to Kevin. Anyway, I
that's
did get a deal.
28. That's your 28, right?
No, it's my 28. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wasn't a part of that conversation at all, so I have to be an impartial bystander.
Right.
But it's not at all surprising.
I have 4 plays.
Not at all surprising to you. That's funny.
I have 20 plays of this game.
Okay.
20 plays.
I've played this game quite a bit.
Nice.
What I love about this game is it's a worker placement game, and it has, according to BGG, a whopping 61 different options to choose from.
like workers'
Yeah.
placement spots, right?
It has 61 worker placement
Imagine
spots.
all that cardboard I had to punch.
It-
Yeah.
See,
well,
I saved you from having to punch all that
wow,
cardboard.
you are so generous.
it is a lot of cardboard, but it seems like an overwhelming worker placement game because of that, but it has a really good flow of here are the options available to you. Here are the ones that you can do based off of the resources you have. And I really like Uwe Rosenberg kind of taking all of his mechanisms from previous games and putting them in here. And you have to solve that kind of patchwork kind of quilt puzzle by putting all of your stuff on a grid. You have to do this worker placement. You can take all of these different strategies you can go whaling, or you can raise animals, or you can go and conquer every different places and lands and things like that. There's a lot going on in this game, but I've really enjoyed every single play that I've played of this game.
It seems like it would be overwhelming, for sure. Like we played Caverna,
Yeah.
another Uwe Rosenberg design, and that first play was like, oh my gosh, what the heck am I doing? You know, there were so many options there.
Yeah, all the different tiles that you could select.
Correct.
With all their different abilities.
I would
It's
imagine this
overwhelming.
game, the first time you play, is a similar feel with all those
sure.
action selection spots, right?
I would say the first couple times they are overwhelming, but then you start to at least get to the point where you're like, okay, well, this time I'm going to try this strategy and
Explore something new type of thing.
and there's tons of different ways to go with it.
Totally agree.
Awesome.
And this is one of the few games that I think that if you learn it on BGA, it can actually help you because it shows you what actions are available, like highlights the ones that you can do, kind of a thing.
Which is very helpful.
Which
with
is
so many choices.
Right, exactly.
That's shocking because for a heavy game, typically learning a heavy game on BGA is a disaster.
Now, there is a good tutorial for this as well.
Oh, nice.
So like
Good.
you go through the tutorial, you'll understand it, and then you get a play in, and it kind of makes sense. It is easier. But yeah, I prefer this on the table, but I've really enjoyed it on BGA too.
Awesome.
So that's my number 28, A Feast for Odin.
All right, so my number 28 is another game that was on Kevin's list, his 49th game. This is the best love letter game. It is Lovecraft Letter. I just, we talked about it last episode, obviously. It's just awesome. It's the best one. I've got 43 plays of this. For one thing, it comes in a box and not a bag like a lot of love letters do. So
that gets
that's
a point,
plus. But the
point for that.
We talked about the production's off the charts. Very nice production. The thing I love about it is the insanity cards are so powerful, right?
Yep.
But for you to use an insanity card's ability and not just the base sane ability when you play that card, you have to already have a insanity card played in front of you. So once you get one of those out, then you can start playing your insanity cards, but you have to do that sanity check.
Yep.
And you have to flip over a card for every insane card that you have in front of you. And sometimes you get to like 3 and you survive the sanity check, and it's just awesome. And I don't know. I just love that aspect of the game. It makes the rounds go by super fast. I love that you can win by having 2 sane tokens that you've collected for winning around rounds without insanity cards, or you can win by having 3 insanity tokens. And so you can have complete come from behind wins where you might not have a token and everybody else has a bunch, and then you get 2 sane tokens and win. Obviously, if you can win with Cthulhu, then that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yep.
It's just easily my most favorite love letter game.
It creates cool stand-up moments around the table.
Yeah.
And I love games like that.
Yeah, so that is my number 28, Lovecraft Letter.
All right, my number 27, another Tom Lehman design. Shocker. And this one...
At this point, I've forgotten which ones you've already talked about. You've talked about Race.
Roll. I think that's it.
Between
Jump Drive? Is this Jump Drive?
This is Jump Drive. And this one kind of surprised me, right? This one is ranked higher than Roll for the Galaxy or Race for the Galaxy. This wasn't even on my list last time. This one has had a resurgence for me because of the new expansion that's come out, Terminal Velocity. So Terminal Velocity added some just really great things to the game. It's got start worlds, it's got goals, and it just changes up the game. And makes it a lot more interesting. Super easy game. It's kind of was marketed as an entry-level game to introduce you to the Race for the Galaxy system, which I think it does really well, but it's great as a standalone game as well. I love the escalation. It plays in like 5 or 6 rounds, and you're getting your engine up and going super quick in this game if you're going to be successful. So you start, getting multipliers and getting victory point chips, and just it goes up super fast. It's a race to get whoever gets to 50 first, or 60 if you're playing with the expansion. You can have cool come from behind wins if you get some powerful cards at the end. And just the synergies between the cards are just fascinating and fun to discover. So I've been having a blast with this. It's on BGA, so I've been playing a lot there, but I've also been playing a lot of the physical version.
Is Terminal Velocity on BGA?
It is. No. Yes, it is. Terminal Velocity is on BGA. Which is really cool.
I want to get this one played again. I think I have 1 or 2 plays, and I liked it. And I like that it's a shorter version.
Yep. It plays in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah. And I still haven't played a Jump Drive at all, I don't think, at this point. But part of me is concerned that people who know Tom Lehman games so well, there is a barrier between me and a skilled player doing it. So maybe I should get some BGA plays on my own.
Yeah, there can be a skill gap there for sure. I don't think it's as pronounced as like Race for the Galaxy, but there, you play it more, you get better, like most games.
Yeah,
but
between Tom Lehman and Simone Luciani, I feel like your whole top 50 list is comprised of those 2 designers.
At least the top end of it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's my number 27, new to the list, Jump Drive.
My number 27 is a game that I don't expect will probably come off the shelf, but maybe one or two other times in my life after. Like, I don't
Tainted
think.
Grail?
No, I've never played that one. It's never come off the shelf at all.
I'm putting it down on the spreadsheet. Tainted Grail, Tyson's number 27.
Nice.
27 for me is Vast the Crystal Caverns.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
This is a game that I have so many really positive, fun memories about. It came out in 2016. It was designed by Patrick Leader and David Somerville, and it was published by Leader Games. It's a game that, for me, is kind of genre defining, right? Like, it was the first game that was so purely asymmetrical that I'd ever played, and does it in such a phenomenal way that is now basically the trademark of Leader Games, right? Yep. Like, they have such asymmetry in all of their plays, but this was like that first this first journey into that asymmetry, I think. You play as either a knight, a dragon, goblins, or the thief.
Can't you play as the cave,
and
too?
you can play as the cave.
Okay,
exactly. Which was the big selling point. I remember this came out at Gen Con in 2016. I didn't attend, but I was following closely, and I was like, the cave, you can play as the cave? Okay, I'm interested. What is this game? I found a copy, I bought it, introduced it to my game group, and everybody immediately started figuring out how to play, and we were like, okay, I'm going to figure out one character, and then we would switch and play different roles. We had a group that really was invested and started understanding it, and so it was really worth it. But to introduce this game to new players is nearly impossible at this point.
Yeah.
It takes so much for me, which is why it probably won't come out anytime soon.
I have 7 plays of it. I've played as the cave, which is a blast. Most of my plays, I think, are as the dragon, which I've always enjoyed playing as the dragon. It does have that same kind of problem with root, right? You gotta put in some effort for everybody to learn their factions, how they're supposed to react to other factions that are playing in that game, and it takes a lot of plays to get to that point where everybody's comfortable with not only their factions, but the other factions that are on the table.
And that's the real kicker, right? Because if you have a new player and you're just like, hey, read this one faction ahead of time, you'll understand how to play your faction. If you don't really understand, at least from a cursory level, how every faction plays, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
It's like
playing
a Just a Robin Hood.
Just a Robin Hood
Yep,
if you don't know what Robin Hood's actions are. Right?
Yeah. Those
But
are tough.
but on a bigger scale.
But yeah, with 4 other roles that are just really confusing. So
Nice.
it's a great game. I love it. Like I said, it holds a lot of positive memories. It's one I would love to play more, but I don't see that happening. But I still think it deserves a spot on my list. My number 27, Vast the Crystal Caverns.
Nice. My number 27 was previously my number 19. This is a much maligned game in our group, and it's the only game on my list that I have only one play of.
I know what this is.
Yeah,
It's
Imperial Steam.
Imperial Steam.
Yep.
This is from Capstone Games. It's designed by Alexander Humer, who also did Lignum, I think. Another very heavy Euro.
I played that one.
You have?
I have.
Oh,
It's
nice.
been a long time, but I played it.
And the artist is Andreas Resch, and I love both the box cover art, I love the table presence, I love the tone and the colors and the just how beautiful this game is, right? It's a very heavy, very complex, very tight Euro that can be brutal, like Barrage, especially on your first play, as we found out. I don't know. I love this game. I would love to go back to this game. You're racing to get to Trieste. Depending on whether or not anybody makes it there, changes the scoring of the game completely because contracts don't score if you don't make it. If you do make it, then everybody has to pay penalties for each section of they are away from Trieste. I don't know. I just love this game. I love the loans. They feel like, or the selling the stock shares, you get to generate some money, but then you're going to take a percentage of your points away at the end of the game from that. There are a lot of things that remind me of other games in this game. It's a train game, but it's an economic heavy Euro game. It's like if Brass and Railways of the World had a baby, this is kind of what I would imagine would come out. I don't know.
If they made a crappy game or something like that.
I know you're bitter.
No, I'm not bitter. It's a fine game. It's fine.
I would love to go back to this game. I noticed when I was looking at it the other day on BGG, just to kind of put my thoughts together, I noticed somebody had created a solo version and a solo variant, and I want to try it out. And I also I think Logan would play this with me, so I'm definitely going to go back to this game. Whether the group ever embraces it again or not, I think it's fantastic and beautiful and amazing.
I've said it every time that it's come up that I would play this a game. I would give it another shot. But there was a lot of things with this game that was bad feeling for me for the first play.
Is it because you lost by like 300 points?
By like 300 points.
And that's really reflective of how you played, right?
That was one of the reasons I went back to BGG, was to see what the point differential was. And you guys you scored
lowest, I think, right?
Tyson got 144. Kevin got 153. Ben had 624.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that feels good.
And I scored 810.
Yeah, exactly. So it was 600 points.
So a lot of the comments about this game are that the first couple plays can be very brutal and unforgiving. And I think it's absolutely one of those games. And I feel like the same way about Barrage. I feel like you can just get destroyed and it's a miserable experience.
I think as a new player, you have to understand coming into this game that may be a possibility, and that's not necessarily a reflection on how well or poorly you played. Because I think Kevin and I both had the same feeling. Up until the last couple of turns, we felt like we were in the game.
Well, you
and
were.
Then the final scoring.
And then it's like,
oh, no, you lost by 600 points.
Let me punch you in the gut.
And you guys totally were, but Ben made it to Trieste, and I was close.
Right.
And that changed the... It's almost like this, you put all this effort into doing more contracts, but if you don't get to Trieste, then they don't pay off. So
and those contracts
it's
are
a lot
worth
of risk.
A lot of points. Some of those contracts can score for multiple hundreds of points for one contract, potentially, if you've set it up right. So I think going in with the understanding that, hey, losing by a huge amount of points is not reflective of how well or poorly you played. It's just there's a lot of point swings in this game.
Yeah.
You know?
I would love to see this on Board Game Arena. I don't know that it'll ever happen, but I would love to explore this game for everything that it has. That is my number 27, Imperial Steam.
All right, my number 26 was designed by Mike Elliott and Eric Lang. This was number 16 on my list last time. This is Dice Masters.
Okay.
Yeah, Dice Masters. Fantastic game. I have 126 logged plays of this one. Haven't gotten it to the table for a while. Did actually pull out all of my Dice Masters stuff about a week ago, built some teams, asked my daughter if she wanted to play again. She's like, well, yeah, I want to play again. She got super excited about it. So I'm going to build a few more teams, and we're going out of town for the weekend. We're going to play some Dice Masters.
Nice.
Super excited about that. I love the fact that you have all of these different dice. I love games with dice. You can build teams that are DC, Marvel. You can get sets that are D&D.
Yep.
You can get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's Yu-Gi-Oh. You can, and they all have synergies that you can that work together, and you can build, a team of all different types, right? Or you can build an Avengers team, or you can do whatever you want, and then you battle against whatever team your opponent built. Super fun, super fast. It's a, collectible game, and, I went down the slippery slope of that one and got all kinds of content. So I have just a ton of it, and I'm excited to get back into it after not playing for a while.
I have the Marvel Ultron Adventures set.
That's a good one.
That I've never played with. I've read the rules. I set it up. I even printed off the sheets and things like that that you needed. But then I never found anybody who would play it.
Do you have the start? You used to have the starter?
Just the starter.
No boosters? Okay.
No.
Let's play.
I've got tons of Dungeons and Dragons.
Awesome.
I've never played.
I never collected Dungeons and Dragons. So, if you guys want to play, I'll play anytime.
I'd be interested in
I would
trying
love
it out
to try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, have you played with Logan?
No,
I think he'd be all over this one.
I think he may have played with Shelley, but I've never played.
Yeah. Okay.
But I had fun opening all the packs and
Oh my
getting
gosh,
the cards and the dice out.
I was looking through old pictures the other day, and a picture came up of like I would get the gravity feeds that had 90 packs in there.
Yeah, that's what I got of the D&D one.
Yeah, and we would just sit around the table with my daughters, and we would open up packs. And the rarest were the super rare. They had a red stripe on them, and we would. I'd tell the girls, if we get a super rare, you got to run around the table and do the super rare dance. And it was just so exciting when one of the girls would open one up and you'd get a super rare and just everybody be excited about it. Or you open up your favorite Marvel character. It's just really fun. So that is my number 26 Marvel, Dice Masters.
Nice.
Not necessarily Marvel, but just Dice Masters.
My number 26 is a game that has been mentioned on somebody else's list already. It's a game that I have 84 logged plays of. It's a game that's similar to Imperial Steam. The point disparity can be large between players. What I'm talking about is Tapestry.
Okay, there we go.
We've already talked about
This
this.
is my number 35.
Nice.
Just like Tyler talked about.
Didn't make
on
my
his.
list. Shocker. But yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It was my 12 before, but I've played this game so many times at this point that it's kind of fallen down. And there's some definite problems with this game in terms of balance and point disparity and things like that. But every single time I play it, I still enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
And I like what I'm doing. I like the engines that I'm building. I like the point combos that I'm scoring and the actions I'm doing. So I think it has to stay on my list no matter what. Maybe a little lower spot, but that is why it is still on my list. Number 26, Tapestry.
Nice. My number 26 was previously my number 17. It is designed by Luke Laurie, and from Breaking Games, it is Dwellings of Eldervale.
Okay.
I think this is another game that I think I like the most out of our group.
Sounds fair.
I like it. I would play this one again.
Yeah.
I'd put hats on those meeples, right?
Put houses, put roofs on their heads.
Yeah, roofs
which
on
is
their
so creative and such a unique thing, and people can poo-poo it all they
Mark
want.
loves that.
I think it's freaking awesome.
No, I think it's cool too. I like it. Yeah.
It's a fantastic worker placement, area control game with some dice chucking when you do battles. It doesn't feel super terrible if you lose a battle or multiple battles in a row because you still get some rewards out of it.
It's one of those that you have to be aware of that going in, because it can feel bad initially. Because I remember the first game I played, I'm like, I lost every battle. But then it turned out that it wasn't as important as I thought it was.
It wasn't,
right?
And you ended up winning that game.
I did, which was,
Yeah.
one of those games where you complain and end up winning and feel like crap.
Yeah, yes. I did that with Bitoku the first time.
Yeah.
Or the second time when we played with Ben and Greg.
Yeah, like the whole time.
I was doing a little bit of meta at the table.
It was not meta because I was calling you out the whole time, and I was like, "You're gonna win. You be quiet."
But Dwellings of Eldervale, I love how variable it is. The setup, the factions, modular hexes, the monsters that you can add. It just deserves to be on our table more. One thing that I love too is when you place you have different units, like you get your base workers, and then you got like a knight, and you can get up to a dragon and a wizard and stuff. And you put them out on the board, and you can do an action or get a reward, depending on what tile you place your guy on. But then when you do the rest action, you're pulling all your workers off the board, and you place them on the cards, and you get action or rewards and bonuses and things. So I love that when you place them out, you're getting stuff, and then also when you do your like rest turn, you're also getting to do actual collecting of items and different things. Tons of different cards in this game. I feel like I've explored like 35% of this game. I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I would love to get it back to the table, especially because I finally got those. Yeah, the monster bases
that make noise.
And
that's the only thing I remember about this game without you reminding me about it. That the toilet flushing.
They just sound like toilet flushes. Yeah, exactly.
Some they do sound kind of similar. So I don't know. Feel a little gypped on that, but
you got them.
I got them, and we should play it.
You know what? That reminds me of. There's one game I think that does sound effects slightly better, Anachrony.
Anachrony.
With the app.
Oh, with the app, yeah.
But I wish that it did what Dwelling
They stopped
does
supporting that app, didn't they?
I do think
I think they did.
But if it had been in the minis, it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah.
I like Dwellings.
With the
They did
exosuits,
right
you just
thing.
press down on the
Exactly,
exosuit.
and it makes a noise.
Maybe in the next iteration of Anachrony.
Oh, yeah. That could be some kind of stretch goal or something.
I want that.
I like it.
All right, so that's my number 26, Dwellings of Eldervale.
All right, my number 25. This has already been talked about. Designed by Gavin Brown, Sebastian Pachon, and Adam Weiss. Based on a game called Metropolis. This is Skyrise. This one surprised me a little bit as well. First time I played Skyrise, I was like, okay, it's okay. And I think you mentioned this last time, Tyler. Second time I played it, I'm like, this game's pretty good.
Yeah.
Third time I played it, I like this game a lot. And I played it the fourth time and I just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's the game that gets better the more you play. It reminds me of Raw. A lot of similarities to Raw. It's a great auction game. When I looked at it the first time, I'm like, this game is overproduced for what it is. I don't think that anymore. I think it fits this game. I think it's fantastic. Don't need to talk any more about that because we
surprises me that it ended up on your top 50 list, even so high as 25.
It was my 31st.
It didn't end up on my list, but I don't have as many plays as either of you. And based off of your high ratings, both of you, I really want to bring this one out again and play more of it. I have a copy. I'd love to.
I think it's in the right spot for me at 25. I think it's great.
Yeah. When we talked about it last episode, I was just like, man, I need to get this out during big game night.
It's a great game to introduce to people because it's so easy to play, right?
Yep.
And I just love the tough decisions that this game makes, right?
Yeah, and by the end of the game, everybody's standing up around the table. One, because you're kind of trying to see where the last available spots are.
Because it is overproduced and you can't see around all the buildings, but yes.
But it's super exciting too. So everybody's kind of on their feet seeing how the game plays out. I don't know. It's awesome.
And like we mentioned last time, putting somebody in a tough decision of, do I benefit, do I do something that's suboptimal for me because I know it's really good for you? Like that decision is super interesting. I love that.
Yeah. Especially when you know a ton of points are on the line.
Yep, exactly. Because it's open information. You can see what people have left to bid. You can see what some of their cards are.
There's one hidden information part of it, the
which
tokens
is super
that you
cool
get to hide,
too.
which you may or may not be going for, which is fascinating because some people may be collecting it. I like a lot the deception that you can put into those because you may know what an A tile or a B token is, but other people at the table may not. So you can make people think I'm going for the A token, but really I want all those Bs, but I'm keeping them on the table until I can be sure to grab all of them up. And I think that's really fun.
No, I thought you were talking about the hidden player card. And I was like, that's the weakest part of the game.
That is the weakest part of the game. There's a few things they could have improved on, but overall, game is fantastic. Wonderful auction game. That's my number 25, Skyrise.
Nice.
My number 25 is my first solo-only entry onto this list. It is a game that is new to this list. It's Eila and Something Shiny.
Okay.
This is a game published by North Star Game, and Jeffrey CCH is the designer. And this game is, I think, the single best pure narrative game that I've played in board game form.
High praise. Nice.
What it does really well is that there are multiple chapters in this story with branching narrative, and you can go and start your game, and it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure style game. And I love that each game that you play starts with this little comic strip, and you're reading this comic strip, and then it tells you to go off and set out on this adventure. And each chapter you're playing in this has a different kind of vibe of what the mechanisms are. And it has unique mechanisms every time you play, but building off of things that you've already learned. So you're going through and playing this game, and it has a lot of different interactions that you're experiencing. And then you get to crucial points in a chapter, and depending on the decisions you make in that chapter, the end result of what's going on is going to change, and you can have alternate endings per chapter, and then it's going to send you down a different branch. And you can go down these different branches until you get to the end, and it invokes some of the most emotion in me from a play experience that I've ever felt. And like the story, and I felt an attachment to the characters. I felt like sorrow and joy and like despair and hope and all those feelings that like you want to experience in kind of a narrative experience. And they're present there, and it tells a story that has like heart. And I loved that about this game. It is a fantastic game. The ability to go back and experience it again and again with the different endings and opportunities in it is phenomenal. So yeah, that's why this is my number 25, Eila and Something Shiny.
So a better narrative experience than like Arkham Horror LCG?
Oh, I think so.
You're not necessarily feeling hope in that one.
No, like Arkham Horror LCG has a great narrative experience.
Yeah, right.
But like, and it does branch, but it doesn't invoke terror in me, for example. Like, I don't get scared playing Arkham Horror necessarily, which is what a feeling you kind of want. I get excited and I get interested to see what's next, but like there is true sadness and true happiness that I've felt playing Eila and Something Shiny.
That's cool. I like it.
I think this one, everybody that is on our Discord that's played this loves it.
Yeah.
I feel like overwhelmingly the comments about this game were positive, and everybody had good things to say about it.
Got to check it out.
Yeah, I don't think I've talked to anybody who has played it who was just like, it's meh, right? Like there's strong opinions about this game no matter what. So yeah, that's my number 25, Eila and Something Shiny.
All right, so my number 25 takes me back to my childhood a little bit. It's not from my childhood, but it reminds me of a game that I used to play growing up in the 80s. I used to play Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon, a board game where you get in, get as much treasure as you can, and get out. And this game, number 25, is Clank Catacombs.
Okay.
My first play of this was at CabinCon. I think I ordered it
right after
we had finished the game.
Yeah.
And I played Clank in space. I've got Clank Legacy. I haven't played it yet. That's on my shelf of shame, top 5 for this year, which I'm doing terribly at. But
I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah. I looked at the list the other day and I was like, I'm struggling. But
I just
anyway,
knocked off 2 last week. So hey.
Oh, well done.
So Clank Catacombs, this is a modular version of Clank where you're placing out tiles out of a draw stack as you explore new rooms. It's an amazing deck builder. It's designed by Paul Denon. We're going to start getting into some amazing deck building games, I think, on all of our lists. Because those are some of our favorite games, are deck builders.
Wait, what else does Paul Denon design?
I don't know.
You're going to have to be on the edge of your seat for
Tune
that.
in to find out.
Yeah, next episode. So I just love this version of Clank. The experience that we had at CabinCon was hilarious.
I could have sent Ben to the nether regions.
You could have, but even with being nice to him and not doing that, he was still stuck in the same area for like 7 turns in a row. It was hilarious.
So frustrating for him, though.
Yeah.
And he was pleading with me not to. He ended up winning that one, right? I think he did. I don't know. We'll have to look at the score, but yeah, that was a fun, memorable experience.
And of course, it's probably a spoiler, but if you've played this, you know that there's a tile that makes you rotate all the tiles that the players are on, I believe.
Yes.
And it completely, when it comes out that first time you're playing, it just kind of blows you away. It just created some funny moments. I love this game. Get in, get out. And that, if you're one of the first ones out, then you're just hoping everybody else dies terribly before they can get out.
It's a fantastic new expansion just came out as well.
Yes, I was going to mention that. Ryan on our Discord just posted that he bought that.
Yeah, that's an insta buy for me, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Lairs and Lost Chambers, I believe. And I was looking at it, and it looks pretty cool. So.
Yeah.
Well, and Clank always has that tongue-in-cheek on all the cards, right? Like, it has clever, witty things. It's fun to read the flavored text, which I almost never read in any game. Yeah. But, like, in Clank, I end up reading all the flavored text, and I feel the experience is enhanced by the whole aesthetic of what's going on.
Yeah. That's one of the things I love about a game that's shipping to me soon is the flavor text and
you had to find a way to
ingest
put killer
jokes
bunnies
and
in
the
here.
pop culture references.
Oh my gosh.
He found a way to inject killer bunnies.
Hey, it didn't make my top 50.
Well, I would, yeah. Take away your gamer card if it did.
Whatever, dude. So that's my number 25, Clank Catacombs.
All right. This next game, number 24, new to the list. It's designed by Randy Flynn with art done by Beth Sobel. This is Cascadia. Cascadia, there's some in the group who may not be as big on this game as others, but I think it is fantastic. It's a good, light, family weight game. It's a great drafting game. You have cards that are endgame scoring cards. You could have an elk, for example, and you want the elk tokens to be in a certain shape in order to get endgame scoring points. You have salmon, and the salmon want to be in a run. You have bears, and bears like to be together. You got these different animals, and you're trying to put these tokens on the board that match this shape to get points at the end of the game. So you're drafting a tile, and you're drafting a token. You put the tile in front of you, connected to other tiles, and then you put the token that matches one of those tiles that has that animal on the token. I love the balance of trying to get end game scoring with corridors that you're trying to build. So another way to score is you get a corridor of forest. And if you get the most forest, you're going to get a bonus and you get points for all of the forest tiles that are in your largest forest. So that balance of trying to get corridors, trying to balance end game scoring, what is available to draft, because you have to draft a tile and a token together. If you don't have exactly what you need, you have to pivot and go another direction. Looking around the table to see what other people want. It has a little bit of Azul in it where you're potentially hate drafting because you know somebody needs bears, and if they get bears, they're going to get a lot of points, that type of thing. Lot to think about in the game with a very simple rule set. And, because of that, I think it's just fantastic and a ton of fun to play.
It goes in that group with Harmonies, Azul, Tiny Towns.
Calico is another one that I just got.
Calico,
that's
the cat.
similar, the cat one.
Acropolis.
Oh,
Right?
okay,
Like
sure.
This group of lightweight games that are just a blast to
Crunchy,
play.
yeah.
Different ways that each thing gets scored, and I don't know, awesome.
No, I think it's a blast, and it's very approachable. Which, because it's approachable, it gets to the table more than maybe some other games do.
Yeah.
Which I always appreciate games of this weight that I can pull out and introduce to a wide variety of people and have them enjoy the experience.
It's one of my favorite games.
Well, and
I think you're lying through your teeth, but that is okay.
That's not accurate.
No.
I like this game a lot, and one of the things I really like about it is it's approachable, like you said, Kevin.
Yep.
But that approachability is not diminished in any way by the fact that there is a lot of variability as well in the game by being able to switch up what the different animal types are doing, what the goals you're doing are. So it keeps it fresh, even if you are introducing this to a lot of different players. It doesn't add any complexity to the game, to explaining the game or anything, but you can continue to play with new players and get a different experience each time you're doing by switching things up. And I think that's great.
And if you play multiple times with the same group and you want to switch it up even more, there's a great Landmarks expansion that I think adds a lot to it as well. So great game. That is my number 4, Cascadia.
I think you mean 24.
Oh, 24.
I did that in the last episode.
I heard
said
that.
number 3 instead of 43.
It's not my number 4 game. It's good, but not number 4. That's 24, Cascadia.
My number 24 game is a game that I probably rank a little bit lower than the majority of the world on this one, but it is a very good game, and I like it a lot. It's Terraforming Mars, designed by Jacob Frixelius, and it's published by Stronghold Games. It is a game that it came out right around the time that the movie The Martian came out with Matt Damon, and I had just read that book, and so I was on this huge Mars kick, and I was really enjoying it, and it came out, and I was like, well, I have to have that game. I started playing it, and played it with a couple of different groups, and it has this really fun tableau building, engine building kind of game that you're playing to terraform Mars, and I thought that was just such a fun experience to be able to put the oceans into Mars, to increase the oxygen,
greenery tiles,
to make forests.
Thematically, it's awesome.
No, I love the theme.
absolutely.
The theme's fantastic.
And then I really did like building all the different synergies between the cards by being able to do different things and look at the tags and try and maximize your points.
And the milestones. You're
absolutely.
planning ahead, future planning. Yeah.
It's a great game. I like it a lot.
I think it's good. It plays a little long. I think you have to put the Prelude expansion in with it.
Absolutely.
I think that's a must because it kind of gives you a little bit of a kickstart. But I think this game's great. I mean, there's a few things that kind of bug me a little bit about it. The attack cards can kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. I see why they do it so people don't hoard resources and stuff, right? But I think overall it's a fantastic game and a great design.
The Prelude's a must. Some of the other expansions are take it or leave them.
Oh, there's so many expansions.
There's a lot.
Like
Yeah.
I don't, outside of Prelude, like I don't think I need all the other stuff. Especially like I'm not a card sleever, and I don't like playing this game with sleeved cards because those stacks get so incredibly large
that they do.
It starts self-dealing
I'm trying
itself.
to think if I
and
sleeved my copy or not.
I
I'm
sleeved
pretty sure I
mine.
had.
Yeah, I sleeved mine.
If you're adding expansion content and you have sleeved cards, like it becomes really hard to like keep track of all that. I mean, they have like trays and things like that now with some of the big box type of stuff, but I didn't go for any of the big box stuff. I have the base game, and that's fine for me.
I have the base game as well with the box that's made out of toilet paper.
Yep, that one.
It's like
It falls
the
over if you
production
blow on
paper
it.
mache. Paper mache. Yeah, the production on that initial one was not great, but the deluxe version is great. You know, I think Dan has that one. You still have that one, right, Tyler?
I do. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think I've played it since I got it. And that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's not your
So,
favorite, but
Yeah, this one fell off the list a little bit for me, and we haven't played it for a while. I've played the app a few times in that time, but
I think it's on BGA now too. I've played it there. I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I played on BJ. Yeah.
I do like the different maps that you can play with.
Yeah.
The little mini board expansion.
With the moons and the different things. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that is my number 24, Terraforming Mars.
My number 24 is new to my list. It is designed by ASCII Christensen?
Question mark?
And
Maybe you should ask you.
yes. It has been referenced in this episode already with Bitoku. This is Living Forest.
Okay.
And I will say this is another game that I would much rather play on Board Game Arena. I have it. I've played it on the table. It's much easier to track the counts of everything that people have. How many fires, how many of the little diamond points, and how many trees they have. It's just so much easier to track on Board Game Arena. I think this game is fantastic. It's well balanced. There are so many different things you can do. It's a push your luck game where if you push your luck too far, you only get one action per round. Otherwise, you get 2 actions per round. But I love that there are different things you can buy new cards from the market to add to your deck. So you're building this awesome deck.
Yeah.
You're going around a rondel. You can move around the circle of the forest or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but you move around the circle. You land on a tree spot. You get to buy a new tree that you put on your player board in your little forest thing, which goes on a tile or a spot that lets you buy a card from the market. So you're kind of comboing these actions. There's ways to do that.
Or lets you move ahead on that rondel again. Then you leapfrog somebody, steal their tokens.
Plus you're stealing tokens from other players. Yeah,
that's cool. That's fun.
I love this game. It's well balanced. First 1 to 12 points wins of any of those 3 categories: tree, fire, or
Flowers.
Flowers. Yes, not diamonds. But just I don't know. I love this game. I've got 119 plays of this.
Wow. Yeah, Tyson and I started playing this one initially before you started playing, and then you definitely got into it, probably a little bit more than we have.
Outstretched us by a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fantastic. And it goes in that lightweight of Cascadia, Azul, Acropolis. You can play this in a relatively short amount of time. So that's my number 24, Living Forest.
Very nice. My number 23. This is another one by one of my favorite designers, Vladimir Suchy. Underwater Cities. Yeah. Underwater Cities. Fantastic game. Absolutely love this one. What I love most about this game, and I'm not going to, it's a heavy game, right? So I'm not going to talk about everything about how it plays, but the kind of hook for this game is that you have 3 colors of cards and then you have 3 colors of action spaces. And you want to try and match up the colored card that you have, and you only have 3 of these on your turn, to the action space that matches that color. Because if you do, you get to do the action and you get to do the action on the card. If you don't match the color, you don't get to do the action on the card. It just gets discarded, right? That creates some super interesting decisions and hard decisions because due to the luck of the draw, you may not get the color that you need. And you have to say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice this card because I need to really do this action. And those decisions in this game are just super interesting and super fun. Plus, I love building out my board. You have tunnels, you have domes that you're building.
Yeah, the domes are cool.
The domes are cool. You got like desalination plants and farms and laboratories. If you get the expansion, then you get this like triple layer board, which is really cool, where everything slots into, which is fun. If you build to certain areas, you get these bonuses that you build to, which is really cool. It's just a fantastic game. And like almost every Suki game, it's got that one thing in it that's just kind of mind blowing. And that's, the card play in this game is just fantastic. So I love it.
It's missing rondelles though.
Well, if you want rondelles, then you go to Shipyard. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this game. I have enjoyed all of my plays. I feel like Terraforming Mars, it stays on the table a little too long.
And it is compared to Terraforming Mars by a lot of people, for sure. Yeah.
I love near the end of the game, there's this contest between players over buying some of those final scoring cards.
Yep.
And if you can find a way to pick one of those up earlier in the game and waste an action on it, then I think that can benefit you in a big way, because it gets really contested getting those final scoring cards.
Turn order becomes super important towards the end of the game, and there's a battle for turn order.
Yeah, and it's super exciting how the turn order plays out, and I don't know, that is an awesome part of this game.
Yeah, and the expansion does have a prelude type thing in it, where it does speed up the game a little bit, because that is a valid criticism. It does. It is a longer game, and I don't necessarily dislike longer games, but it is something to think about for sure.
It is on Yukata.
It is, which is awesome.
And we've played it a few times on there. We need to get back to it.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree.
I've only played it like once, maybe twice, and I remember thinking it had a lot of potential, but I think we played it on Yukata, and I didn't get a full grasp of it.
Yeah.
But I do remember thinking, this is a unique theme. This is really fun. I like what we're doing here, building these cities underwater and networking them and doing everything. And I thought it was a really unique theme, but it actually... Deep Shelf, which Kevin and I just recently played, does that same type of theme. And when we were playing Deep Shelf, I was like, this is reminding me of some of the stuff that we do in underwater cities. So it may not be as unique a theme anymore, but I still think it's like a really fun kind of environment that's been created to play in.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This was previously your number 13th game. It fell a little.
I did not mention that. Yeah, it fell a little from 13. Still, 23. Fantastic. There's so many new games that have come out that have pushed it down just a little bit. Yeah. But still,
and almost 2 years ago was our list.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's in a good spot at 23.
My number 23 is a game that was not on my list before, but 2 years ago I had played this game. I'd played all the way through it. I think you guys are probably going to be a little surprised that this ended up on my list at all.
Pandemic.
That is, what did you say it was?
Pandemic?
Legacy Season 1.
Oh, really?
Oh, you threw a wrench when you said 186.
I said Pandemic. You said Pandemic System. I said Pandemic was number 186 because I do not like vanilla Pandemic.
So I was right. Hey, there you go.
But Pandemic Legacy Season 1 was a an amazing experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was my first Legacy experience, opening boxes and discovering new content, ripping up cards. That was a visceral experience for me, that first experience of, wait, we have to rip up these cards?
Oh, that hurt my soul.
Right? Like, it was rough. But like it was such a memorable experience. And I said that Eila and Something Shiny was the best narrative experience, and I stand by that. But Pandemic Legacy Season 1 has a branching narrative that spans over this whole game period, and it is rewarding to see the twists and turns that go through that, and it was a lot of fun. I personally don't love Pandemic on the base game, but adding all of this kind of discovery element to Pandemic, I like the system that Pandemic has created, and I think it is amazingly well designed, but like adding that legacy component to Pandemic made this game for me so much better than it ever was before, and I loved that experience. So that's why it is on my list.
Shocking, but I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, definitely surprised.
One of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. That's
yes.
fantastic.
I concur.
Yeah. So that is Pandemic Legacy Season 1, number 23.
All right. My number 23 is designed by Simone Luciani and Nestor Mangone. And it was previously talked about last episode because it was Kevin's number 44, Darwin's Journey.
Nice. Yep.
The art on this is beautiful.
It is.
It's worth mentioning Paolo Voto. Amazing art style. I'm really excited to get Etherstone from Thundergriff Games.
I am as well.
And I don't know. I love this game. I love that it's on BGA now, so we can really, truly explore it. And it's just a fantastic game. There's so much to do, and love those stamps, and love drafting the seals, and
The combos they do,
it's got combos that are awesome.
That's
amazing.
Love it.
Fantastic. So that is my number 23, Darwin's Journey.
All right, my number 22, new to the list. It is a flip and write. Welcome to the Moon. Designed by Alexis Allard and Benoit Turpin. This is the best version of Welcome to. We've talked about this before on the podcast.
Yeah.
This is essentially 8 games in one, right? You can play it in a campaign. I have not played the campaign. Have you guys played the campaign?
No, I don't.
No, it's something I want to explore. But I've just played, I don't think I've played all 8 versions yet. I may be up to
6 or 7.
Yeah, or something like that. But what blows me away about this game is every version plays so differently, right? It kind of eases you into it. The first one, you're just building the rocket. There's not a whole lot of different things to it. But then you get into the second game where you're actually flying, I think, to the moon, and it just blows your mind and it just makes your mind work in a different way, right? So it's the same mechanic as normal Welcome to. You have a card that you flip over that has an action, and then there's a number associated with that, and you have to put that number somewhere, and it's got to be in numerical order from lowest to highest. But every map you play kind of breaks those rules or bends those rules in a little bit of a different way. Which I think is awesome. I played this one with my family. My family absolutely loves it. Got quite a few plays of it at this point. Tyler and I, we played this for the first time at Origins 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we got a play of it then, and we're like, this is great.
Yeah.
So
it is by far the best version of Welcome to.
I played recently, this past summer, the vanilla Welcome to.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun, but I couldn't
That's a
help
good
but
one,
thinking, man, I wish I were playing Welcome to the Moon, because I love that one.
Yeah. So that's my number 22. Welcome to the Moon.
My number 22 is another cooperative game. And this is what Pandemic should be, in my opinion. This is my favorite version of it. Previously, it was on my list as number 21, so it hasn't moved very far. It's 22 now. This is Spirit Island.
Okay. I haven't played this one.
I love this game. I think it is a phenomenal experience. It has everybody has these major and minor powers and are being represented as this unique spirit on this island that is trying to get rid of these colonists who are trying to kind of pollute and destroy the island for its natural resources and stuff. And it is a really fun experience to take a spirit and figure out how its major powers and its minor powers work, how to play fast versus slow cards, when to play the cards, how to work with your allies and things like that. It's fun to see these combinations go. I think it's fun to kind of figure out how to upgrade and get these cards. It does a lot of stuff, and what I really like about it from a pure cooperative standpoint is there is so much going on one player's board that there is no way that I can keep track of everything that's going on Kevin's board or Tyler's board. I have to be able to focus on what I'm doing and communicate with one another and say, here's what I can probably do this turn. Can anybody help focus on this other crisis that we have to solve? And that's the cooperative experience I want is I'm really good at doing this thing. Let me focus on this thing. What can you guys do? Oh, we can't do this. Is there any way you can figure out how to do this on your turn? And you have to make this like give and take. And I really like that about Spirit Island.
I'm definitely in the minority on this game. The unique player abilities and cards are definitely really cool. Maybe I was just grumpy the few times that I've played this on different nights randomly, but I didn't love this game. And I don't love the art style. It's very bland to me. Like as far as like the boards, I mean the character art is cool, but the presentation of the rest of the game just doesn't do anything for me. I don't know. I know people love this game. I know it's a top cooperative game for a lot of people, and you obviously love it. Logan loves this game.
I was going to say that.
He
plays it regularly solo, right?
He does, and I don't know what it is about it. It just hasn't done anything for me, but I respect it as your choice, as your number. What number are we on?
22.
He respects it, but thinks it's terrible.
Yeah. That's okay. We've said
that's
the
fine.
same thing about some of his.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly okay, right?
And I know I'm in the minority with that one.
It's a pretty tough cooperative game.
Right?
Right?
It is not easy to win, especially if you're new to it, right?
Okay.
Because you're trying to figure out how does my player work and how do I do different things. But it is tough, and I like that about it too.
Yeah.
That's my number 22, Spirit Island.
All right. My number 22 is a cooperative game that we need to get to the table way more often. It is designed by Nate French and MJ Newman. This is Arkham Horror, the card game.
Nice.
I love this game. I've had this for a while. Somebody gave me a copy that they were no longer interested in, a coworker, years ago. And then I've recently had a chance to play it both with Logan and with you guys. We played it at Cabin Con. We've played it since. We recorded us playing it since. And that was the last time we played it. Mm-hmm. We need to get this to the table more. I just love the moments that it creates. It's hard going back to it after big gaps because we forget some of the rules and the nuances of it. But such an awesome and amazing narrative experience, cooperative, and sometimes things happen where, your son shoots your character and finishes you off, or Kevin's dog bites you and attacks you.
Yep, that happened.
Leaves you for dead.
And it was hilarious. It wasn't good for our play, but it was hilarious.
I love the moments that this creates. I love how many different choices of, hey, we could try to go to this room, or should we go to that room, or we could just try and, just survive a little bit longer.
Yeah, damage control.
Yeah.
Is there, can we just end it now?
Yeah.
And between the three of us, we have so many of the different campaigns that we need to get played because this game's amazing.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time organizing, printing out tabs for this. So I've got it all organized, and I've played solo. I don't play a lot of games solo, but this is a great experience solo. And then playing with you guys has been fantastic. So amazing experience. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned our Shelf of Shame games earlier in this episode. this is one that is on my list, and I have the Path to Carcosa that I want to play that I haven't played on my shelf, and I've looked at it and several times and thought I could play that solo and just start. But I want that experience with you guys, right?
Yes.
Like
That
that's
shared
part of
experience
what
is
I
awesome.
love about this game is that it does create those memories and those moments. And when they're shared, it's like, yeah, you remember the time Kevin's dog bit you. Like, it's fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's what I want out of this. And so I have like prevented myself on multiple occasions from opening that box and playing it by myself because I want that group experience.
So we got to get going on this one again.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
It's fantastic. So that's my number 22, Arkham Horror, the card game.
All right, my number 21 has already been mentioned. It is designed by Inca Brunt and Marcus Brunt.
Oh.
And that is Rajas of the Ganges.
This is the first triple crossover.
Yeah. This was number 18 on my list before. It's dropped just a few spots to number 21. Fantastic game. We talked about the scoring in this one and how the game ends, where you have the two markers that are going around the board when they meet. That triggers the end of the game. Whoever does that first and has the widest distance between their scoring markers wins. That was just mind-blowing when I first played it. Arc Nova does that as well, but this was the first one that we had played that did that, and it's just amazing. I love moving up the river. I love building out your board and all the tracks on your board, getting bonuses.
I love taking the 2 palace action where you get 2 new dice.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite spots.
I know it's always taken. The number 5 action, I think it's almost always taken, and I almost never get it.
Yeah, there's some popular spots that get taken up first. You know, I love getting the commodities and then going to the spot where you get money for those. And the money track.
I have not done a great job of that the last couple of games we've been playing.
Yeah,
but
there's just a fun, different strategy to explore in this one, and it's fantastic.
And when you play it on the table with all the dice there, using them.
Oh, the table presence is great.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I love this game. It's a fun one.
It is fantastic, and it is great on Yukata. That's my number 21, Rajas of the Ganges.
So that came in 34 for me and 36 for Tyson.
Yeah.
Nice. First triple crossover.
It's obviously a really good game.
It is.
All right, so my number 21 is a game that is new to this list. It came out in 2021, but I only started playing this game last year, and then I played it. I had this game set up in my vault of my table for like a couple of months, and I was just playing it regularly. The game I'm talking about is Sleeping Gods. It's designed by Ryan Lockett and published by Red Raven Games. This is... I said Island Something Shiny is my favorite narrative game. This one is close, but I think what this game does better and why it's higher on the list is that this is an amazing exploration game. It reminds me of a video game with like an open world concept, and you can go wherever you want and engage and encounter different experiences wherever you go. Basically, you can choose different places and directions to go and experience new things, similar to something like a Seventh Continent or Seventh Citadel, where there's a bunch of different things. But this one, you are a crew on a ship that is trapped in this other world where there are these gods that you have to go and figure out how to get back home, essentially. And there's so many different places that you can explore and go to. The narrative in here, you go to a place and you read what's going on, and there is branching narrative and choose your own adventure in it. I loved my experience with this game, and it is a game that I probably only barely scratched the surface after 15, 20 hours of playing. I only barely touched the tip of the iceberg there, and there's so much more for me to explore, and I can see myself playing this with my kids as they get older and going on these adventures and figuring different things out. I love this game. It is a lot of fun. Tyler, I think you have this game. Have you gotten it to the table yet?
I haven't. I don't have the original game. I have the second game, Distant Skies, and I have not gotten it to the table yet, but it is definitely as you're sitting there talking about it, I'm like, oh, I got to get this played. It sounds awesome. And I love Ryan Lockett games, his unique art style.
Oh, yeah.
And the world he's created.
The games all look beautiful.
Gorgeous every time.
Yep.
So that is my number 21, Sleeping Gods.
My number 21 is a game that fell from number 12 before, I believe. It's a game I've played 39 times. It's designed by Jamie Stegmaier, and artist is Jacob Rosalski. This is Scythe. I have so many fun memories of this game, and the table presence just blows me away. Kevin and I recently had a game night with Logan.
It was awesome.
And we played Scythe.
I loved it.
It was amazing, and it was so much fun to get back to.
Yep, I agree.
It's gone down a little bit on my list. There's another game that I think is very similar to this that I like a little bit more. But the experience that this has created over the years, it's just an epic game, and it's fantastic. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's so many different things about it. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, I mean, the table presence is amazing. I mean, I have the bigger board. This was the first game that I really blinged out with all the cool, metal coins. And I never got the metal mechs. That was a little too much for me, but it's just an amazing game. I love how you can maximize the top row and the bottom row actions. And if you can do that more efficiently than everybody else, you're going to be in a good spot. The race to get all the stars and being able at the end of the game to spring on everybody else. I'm going to get 3 stars in one turn and maybe end the game type of thing. There's always that tension, which is really, really cool. So I love this game.
I recently had a game on BGA where it was my turn, and I looked, the most anybody had was 3 stars.
Yeah.
And that ended up being my last turn. Somebody got 3 stars on their last turn.
Oh my gosh.
Man, that's awesome.
That is cool. That is cool.
But yeah, I love with the top and bottom actions, how once a player takes their top action and they've kind of moved on to their bottom action, the next player can start taking their turn.
Right.
Which helps the game to move along.
Super smart design decision there.
Yeah. Just cool. A fantastic game. Love the expansions. Love Fenris. The campaign expansion.
I wouldn't know. This is a game. Fenris has sat on my shelf since it came out. I pre-ordered it, and I still haven't played it.
I would love to play it with you.
Well, you've probably forgotten enough now that I
played it like 4 years ago, I think, or whenever it came out. But
Maybe past.
But it is a phenomenal game. It is the top row, bottom row action, the having resources on the tiles,
on the board itself.
And
that's cool.
The first time I realized that those didn't belong to me, when somebody snuck in and stole them, and I was like, oh, I need to do a better job at guarding my resources.
Yep, that's
like
cool.
It was fun. The threat of war that is in here without the actual experience of war. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love the asymmetry in this game that everybody gets to go through and try different strategies based off of their individual faction powers. They're not like vastly different, but they're different enough that it makes you feel.
You can have the swimmers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nordic,
or
you Norsemen.
You can be the ones that like Roosviet. You can do
double
one action after another. That's another thing. Like normally you can't take the same action twice, which makes for interesting decisions.
How
bouncing around your action board and planning and stuff. So it does a lot of things well.
Yeah. Really good game.
Awesome. So that's my number 21, Scythe.
All right, so my number 20, new to the list. We've talked a lot about this game and this game system. Designed by Trevor Benjamin and David Thompson. This is Undaunted Battle of Britain.
I was wondering when we'd see this one show up.
Yeah, this is, my second favorite in the Undaunted series, right? I love dogfighting. I think the way that this was designed, really, you get the feeling of actual dogfighting and moving and positioning your planes. It's a scenario-based war game. The scenarios are different. They switch up the game. We've talked about scenario number 2, where you have the Stukas, which are the bombers that are trying to bomb the ships and how slow they are. And you have all these other planes that are moving around and fighting each other, and you're just trying to protect those Stukas, and right?
It feels like something out of Memphis Belle,
the
movie.
Yeah. It's
that was before Tyson's time, it looks like, maybe.
Could
I've
be.
never seen Memphis Belle, but that doesn't mean it's before my time. Sure.
I actually haven't either, but
See?
I'm pretty sure it's not
Exactly.
before
Movie
my
night.
time.
We're going to play Battle of Britain and then watch Memphis Belle.
Hey, there you go. Let's absolutely do that.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Squirrel. I don't know. It's just fun. I love Undaunted. I don't know what else to say about this one other than
the deck building is
it's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is Undaunted, Battle of Britain, my number 20.
Number 20 for me is a game that has been on this list before. It was number 3 previously. It's fallen quite a bit, but that doesn't mean that I don't love this game. I still
Number
think it's
3.
fantastic.
Okay.
This is a game that we just don't play as much anymore. And I think there are other games and play styles that have replaced it over time. But it's one that I would love to bring back out. It's Ankh, Gods of Egypt.
Okay, there you go.
Designed by Eric Lang, published by Cool Mini or Not, or Come On Games. And
Dropped to 20, huh?
it
That's
dropped to
surprising
20.
to me.
Now, I think part of that is there's a lot of other games that I think as we go on are new to this list and kind of bump things down, and I had to think about it. But also, over time, I love heavy conflict games, and that's what this is a heavy conflict game. This is probably the easiest heavy conflict game, I think, for our group to get to the table, which is great, but we still haven't played it as much as other games. So, like, play styles have changed a little bit, and because there's not as much interest in heavy conflict games, it's fallen to some extent. But I love what this game does. I love the merge mechanic in this game. I know that's
so controversial.
It's
Like,
so awesome, though.
so many people dislike that
I
about
feel like
this
people
game.
need to give it another chance. And
It can be a slightly feel bad experience. It can
absolutely.
be, right? But
the first time.
yeah,
I think there
if
are
you don't
later
know what to
times that it
expect.
could be too, but every time that we've had the merge, like, I can remember when Kevin and I
that was a fun game.
merged, like, we had an experience that it was like we were just so in sync, and we were like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what we need to do, right? Yeah, and we didn't even have to discuss most of the things. We were like, we're thinking the same thing, right? And we were like, yeah. Okay, that's what we got to do. And we would show each other the card and be like, yep, that is definitely the same one we're thinking of.
That was fun.
Like,
That was really fun.
The experience of having that and then trying to race to the top to get the points and control is fun. I love what this game does. I love the area control of this game and the unique gods and what you're trying to do.
The different
action.
scenario setups,
Yes.
the different guardians that change up how the game plays.
Yeah, there's a lot of variability to this, and like any, come on Kickstarter, they throw everything in the kitchen sink in there,
Absolutely.
right? Which makes for great variability. Yeah,
It was
it's
before
awesome.
they started charging like $100 for shipping, though, I think. So that was a
or
bonus.
right around that time. It might have been right before that it switched over.
Right. Yeah.
I love this game. It's amazing. It's still one of my favorites. So
Part of me is sad that I sold my copy because I had a copy of this, but I sold it. But also, we've gotten enough plays out of this as a group, and I'm glad that you both have copies of it.
I
Well,
do not.
Kevin sold
I
his
sold.
copy.
I sold mine, and that was. I'm happy I did that for sure.
But
Because
I-
we still have a copy in the group, I can play it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Shelf space is limited, but this is a phenomenal game, and I would happily bring this to the table anytime anybody wanted to. That's my number 20, Ankh, Gods of Egypt.
So we're going to stay in Egypt and talk about my number 20 game, which was previously my number 9 game. It's dropped a little bit, and mostly that's because I haven't played it. Maybe once in the last 2 years. This is Tekhenu, Obelisk of the Sun. This is designed by two of my favorite designers, Daniela Tessini and David Terzi. It's a T game from Board and Dice. I love this game. I love the rondelle of the dice around the obelisk.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love how, depending on the round and how the rondelle rotates, some of the dice are not playable. Some of them you can play, and some of them you can play with a kind of a negative effect. But it's dice drafting, dice selection, dice placement to take your actions on different sections of the board, depending on which god you are placing your die in that section. And they're all little mini games and variations and just it's point salady. I don't know. It's an awesome, amazing game. I love what this game does. It's not my favorite art, but I still think the table presence is awesome. I absolutely love this game. I would love to see this on Board Game Arena. We've been getting some amazing games in Alpha, Orleans, a Gest of Robin Hood, Scythe. I mean, lots of new games, and I hope this is one of the games that eventually makes its way to Board Game Arena because I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I played this, I think, one time. I've got to get this back out again because that was a fun experience. There's so much to explore, and the mechanics in the game were great.
Yeah, and like any T game or like a lot of board and dice games, there's tons of variability. There's tons of different cards or not cards, but like contracts and different tokens that will come out over the course of the game that are unique to that play of the game. I want to go play this right now. Tekhenu, my number 20.
Yeah, I picked up the expansion for it.
I did too.
Like super cheap. So I'm like, I can't pass this up. And
I think the expansion changed some of the original rules a little bit.
Okay.
And so there's a little bit of a learning curve to integrate the expansion into the game.
All right. Well, there's so much to explore in the base game. I probably won't break that out for a while, but
yeah.
All right. My number 19. We were so close to having a crossover. So close. My number 19 is Scythe. This dropped from number 6 on my list last time. Still a fantastic game. I just haven't got it to the table a whole lot. We did recently get it to the table, which is great, and have been playing it on BGA. But we just talked about it. Love the game. That's my number 19, Scythe.
Nice.
My number 19 is my second solo-only game to enter this list. It's one neither of you have played. It is Paperback Adventures by Tim Fowers and Sky Larson. This is a deck building game that does deck building in a way that I think is so phenomenal. It is unique. Every card in this game is a letter, and you're trying to write a book, essentially, as it were. And it's a roguelike, so you're going through a series of minions and bosses to try and beat the whole game. And you're playing with the same deck and you're building it as you go, and it advances and changes from round to round, and you're trying to cater it to these specific bosses and minions who have weaknesses to certain letters and things like that. Mechanically, this game does so much more for me than almost any other solo game that I've played. It does a great job of giving me some tactical experience and feelings, and invoking this excitement about how can I make this work for me based off of what is there and what's going on. So it's kind of the opposite of Eila and Something Shiny, in that the theme really is limited here, and there's no real narrative, but mechanically I am enamored by everything that's going on in this game, and that's why it's on my list. It's why it makes it so high as number 19, Paperback Adventures.
Nice.
My number 19 has dropped quite a bit. It was my number 5 game previously. I think Tyson's said on our Discord this is his favorite pirate game before, and I second that, and maybe he said it on the podcast as well. It's Dead Reckoning, designed by John D. Clare. I love the deck building, the card crafting. This game does have a lot of similarities to Scythe. It replaces Scythe a little bit for me. It's got the threat of the battle. It's kind of
got exploration.
It's got exploration. You're flipping tiles and exposing new card upgrades that you can purchase and then add into the sleeve of your character cards that you play on each turn.
Resource management.
Yeah,
achievements.
It's got a lot of similarities to Scythe, but I love this game. It dropped down a little bit. I've noticed that as Logan and I play through some of the kind of story expansions, that it's a big part of this game is area control. And so I still kind of focus on that when we play these story expansions that we're playing through. And Logan is just trying to find the new cards in the different decks as you explore and advance the story a little bit more. And so the scores are very lopsided and kind of creates an experience that doesn't necessarily feel as good. And maybe I should just focus on trying to find those cards too a little more. But to me, the base game is amazing and fantastic and wonderful. And I have loved all my plays of it. Unique battle system that's a little
guiding those cubes where you want them to go.
Down the pirate
that's
ship.
absolute
Yeah,
baloney. Like the whole.
I saw Ben play this game.
You totally can guide the cubes. I'm not saying you can't, but like, don't guide the cubes. Like,
No, I agree.
played this.
I agree.
Last week solo for the first time I'd played it solo.
How did the solo play?
I think it's really cleverly designed solo. It is amazingly simple.
So low overhead, like
very
Distilled.
low. It's cards, and you don't have to keep track of anything on the player board or anything like that, but you have cards, and each card has depending on what turn it is, tells you an action. So if it's turns 1 through 3, you do these things. If it's turns 4 through 6, you do these things, etc., all the way up to 13 plus turns. And it enhances the difficulty as it goes on and changes the tactics of what the AI is doing. My only complaint about the solo version is that the AI can't respond to what you're doing, so it will continue to do better things for itself, but it can't adapt tactically to whatever's going on in the map very well. So it's good, but I'd prefer playing the multiplayer experience for sure.
Well, not only can you upgrade your cards and add new abilities to each crew member, you can also upgrade your ship in different ways. And that is really cool too. There's some pick up deliver in this game, which when it's mixed in and it's only a very small part of this game, I think it works perfectly. Love the Ian O'Toole art. There are so many things I love about this game. I want to play it on the table again.
I definitely do.
I have not had the best experience with the little saga expansions.
Just don't play with those then.
Yeah. And I played only the base game when I played it last week. And having played that, the whole card crafting, just like you've said, Tyler, is phenomenal. It is. I love
cool.
It is cool.
And it fits with the theme so well in that you're trying to build a crew and a ship so that you can accomplish whatever you're trying to do. Are you trying to be a merchant vessel or are you trying to be a pirate? Like, I can craft my crew to be bloodthirsty pirates, or I can craft them to be really economically sound merchants that do really well, and I think it does that very well.
That's cool.
It's the quintessential pirate game for me. I've said that before. I don't think there is for me a better pirate game out there.
I like, you get these big old fat cards, right? Because you're crafting them. I think where you shuffle them and then doesn't another player say you got to flip over a certain number of cards?
Yeah.
I think that was just such a smart, easy way to solve that, right? Yeah. Because when you have these huge, thick cards, you're like, I want that card,
but no, stop shuffling.
It doesn't work so well in a solo game because
there you go.
I can still be like, oh, that's a nice one to leave on top.
I do wonder if this is a game that AEG is going to release new expansions for the next 10 years, kind of like Thunderstone or
Thunderstone Quest.
And I don't know. I love it. So many amazing things about it. Just a great experience, and it does replace Scythe for me a little bit. But that is my number 19, Dead Reckoning.
All right, my number 18. This is the second highest cooperative game on my list. It is new to the list, designed by Matt Leacock and Matteo Menepes. This is Daybreak.
It's a good one.
Daybreak's fantastic. Big sigh from Tyler. Go listen to our episode about Daybreak if you want to hear his thoughts. It's a cooperative game about reducing the carbon emissions on the planet, right? That's the theme of the game. I won't talk in depth about the mechanics other than what I think is one of the best new mechanics in any game.
Yep.
It's the tag and stack mechanic.
Absolutely.
We talked to Matt Leacock, interviewed. He kind of coined that phrase. I don't know if it's going to catch on or not, but I think it's fantastic. So you have these tags on the cards. You have actions that key off of those tags. And as you stack and make that stack bigger and bigger, you get more and more tags. And those actions that you take are going to be more and more powerful. And at any time, you can cover that action card and use the tags that are there to do additional actions, because the actions that you are taking may become irrelevant at some point.
Yep.
You may clean up all of your dirty energy and you don't need that action anymore. Then you cover that stack and you do another action that is equally as powerful, and you're helping to remove the carbon cubes or whatever. So that I think is the single best mechanic, and one of the best new mechanics that have been introduced in recent memory.
I love that you can add cards to the back of the stack as well. So you can keep the top facing one available to you, but still make that stack more powerful.
Yep. Yeah.
And we've talked about how you may not want to block off the top card in the stack before, but like you can choose to put a card there and you see that there's a crisis coming up that's going to have to make you discard. So I'm strategically putting one down that benefits me right now that I will have to discard after, and it enables my powerful stack to work again. I love that.
Yep. I love how, it's a great game to play on BGA. You lose some of the interaction with players, but there is a little bit of multiplayer solitaire for parts of the game, right? So it sets up well for BGA. But when
I think that eliminates the quarterbacking and
it eliminates some of the quarterbacking. But I think it's still a very cooperative game because it can be a tough game, especially when you add in those difficulty cards.
Well, and the better you get at this game, right, those difficulty cards or anything else that you're adding, paying attention and having those conversations about, hey, how do we respond to these crises? What do we need to do to ensure that bad thing doesn't affect us? Or, in fact, we have these global kind of, I can't remember what they're called, but the global cards that are like objectives that you can fulfill collectively and work together to get bonuses.
So I'm going to tuck a card here. If you have one you can tuck there, then we can activate this.
We can use this ability later.
Yeah. So I just think it's great. I don't know if it'll stay there as I play it more, but I think it's in a good spot at 18. I think it's fantastic.
I know that I gave this a lower score than both of you did, I think, but it really is a beautiful design, and the tag and stack mechanic is just awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and it didn't make my top 50 list, but very few purely cooperative games made the top 50 for me.
Right.
However, this is a amazingly well-designed cooperative experience that I very much enjoyed and would happily play this game.
Yeah, I mean, it won the Counterspell.
Yeah.
So it's a good one. My 18, Daybreak.
Because Matt Leacock needs more
spiel awards.
He needs more hardware, right? Yeah.
My number 18 is a game that has been around since 2012. When I first started playing games more than Catan, this was a game that quickly caught my eye. It had the same type of buildings as Catan and the roads and things like that made me think, oh, this is a good evolution. This is a good next step into it. And I think that's true. I think it's a little bit more of a jump into the deep end than I had expected at the time. It's not as complex anymore to me. But this is Terra Mystica.
Okay.
This game, similar to a lot of the games on my list, is a game that I have good memories of. I didn't buy this game. I was playing in my grad school program with a group of friends. We were playing different games at lunch every day, and we all started feeding off of each other, similar to what, Tyler, you and Kevin have talked about when Tyler started buying all the games after playing them at Kevin's house, right? We started doing the same type of thing in our group where we'd see a game and then we'd be like, well, I got to go buy a game that's similar to that or that is that game, and they'd buy it. The guy in my group's name was Tyler, who bought this game, and he introduced it to me. It is a really good fantasy-based construction. What is the word I'm looking for? Dwelling, blah, blah, blah. It's a settlement game in which you're trying to settle a race of fantasy creatures, and you're trying to expand your empire and maximize the abilities of this different race to terraform different spots and create the land of your dream, essentially. And I really love this game. I love the ability to get these special action tiles every round and try and switch them out and maximize them. You're trying to keep them from other players. I like every round there's a different objective that's going on, and you're trying to maximize the points by matching what you're doing in the game to what the scoring round is doing at that point in time. There's a lot of things that I think other games have borrowed from Terra Mystica and evolved upon, and I still think that Terra Mystica does a really good job of what it created and playing a really fun experience. So you guys have played this one a little bit, right? I know you, Tyler,
I've played it quite a bit.
Gaia Project.
quite a bit.
I like Gaia Project a little more, and just that's what I was exposed to first was Gaia Project. Gaia Project was 13 on my list, and it fell out of my top 50. So I do like Terra Mystica. I do like Gaia Project. I like that they're both available online.
The tracks are maybe a little more interesting in Gaia Project.
For sure.
Yeah, I think they are.
But yeah, both of them are not in my top 50, but they're good games.
And I think, like I said, the reason this one has held on in my top 50 for so long is because of the memories that are attached to this one, right?
Oh,
some
absolutely.
of the early memories, some of that stuff has played a good role in that. Whereas Gaia Project, I've played a little bit, but it hasn't had the staying power for me because it didn't create the same types of memories and experiences. But I like both of the games. But that is my number 18, Terra Mystica.
Do you guys ever have the experience where like you think you're pretty good at a game and then you start playing on BGA and you just get destroyed
just
over and
apart,
over and over
Just
again?
about every day.
That's how I've felt with my experience on BGA with Gaia Project. I just get destroyed when I play that game.
I've heard that the game is almost solvable, right?
Yeah.
I've heard that criticism before where there's there can be a dominant strategy, right? I have no clue what that is, right? So that maybe it's, people that you play against that have played it a lot and know that dominant strategy. I don't know if that's the case, but I've heard that is.
All right. So my number 18 is a game that actually moved up on my list.
Whoa.
Yeah. Let me see where it was before. It was number 25 before. This is my only Tom Lehman game that is on the list. I don't think this is the last time we're going to talk about it in this episode or maybe next episode. This is Res Arcana. And this game is just awesome.
It's great.
Whether you're taking a specific deck or drafting your cards at the beginning of the game, you get one mage that you've select from two, and you get 8 cards to play the whole game with.
Yep.
And you have to find the combos and the synergies of those cards in combination with the places of power that are available, the monument cards that come out. I don't know how many. I've played this game 87 times.
Yeah.
And I love it every single time. This game has gone up on my list. By far my favorite Tom Lehman game. Maybe that's the theme and it's not in space or the fantasy theme. I don't know. But I think it's just such a beautiful and perfect design.
This game does so much with so little.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
The breadth and variety of 8 cards, like what you're doing with 8 cards.
Yeah.
And that's always different. Like every single game you're playing, it's always a different experience. It's great.
And racing to buy the places of power, but before other people do.
And you can see what resources they're collecting. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. They may be going for the same thing. I got to get there first. Yeah.
Playing some cards in this game that take advantage of other players' resources that may or may not break the game a little bit.
The dragons. Yeah, they can. I remember playing one of the games. We were, introducing it to somebody on the discussion phase, John, I believe, right? And I played, I think, 3 or 4 dragons in that game. And I was just like draining resources everywhere. And I'm like, oh, I feel kind of bad that this is his first experience. But
yeah, that could kind of ruin a first experience.
I think it did. His experience, if I recall, that was kind of, he was like, yeah, is it always like this?
Yeah, no, this is how it kind of turned out. But
I don't think that the dragons really ever are a quick to victory strategy. There might be the right card combination with them.
With the place of power, right?
Yeah.
The right place of power.
Yes.
Dragon's
you can do that very well.
Whatever,
Yep.
Yeah, but often that's not the path to victory. I don't know.
I agree.
Maybe I need to play it more and explore a little bit more, but
no, I similar experience there. But.
Yeah. So fantastic game. Love this design. Have been anticipating the 3rd expansion that was mentioned by Tom Lehman over a year ago in BGG, and I think they just announced instead Sandcastle Games a dual version of it that you can also play as an expansion is how I understood it.
Yeah, I think so.
So definitely
exciting.
Yeah, definitely going to be getting that. And hopefully the 2nd expansion will now be put on Board Game Arena.
Nice.
So that's my number 18, Res Arcana.
All right, my number 17 is a game designed by Tom Lehman. It is Res Arcana.
Wow. I knew it was that close. Your face indicated to me that it was really close.
Well, the fact that this has happened twice in this list is funny, one after another. Yeah, we just talked about it. So there you go. It was number 11 for me last time. So it's dropped a little bit, but still. 17, fantastic.
My number 17 is my last time was my number 8. It is Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven has fallen down, designed by Isaac Childress and published by Cephalofair Games. It fell down on my list slightly, not because it's not a great game, but because I've played through the campaign. It's not one that I'm going back to for a while until probably my kids are older to start playing it again. But I was revitalized in playing Gloomhaven by recently getting the Gloomhaven Bugs and Buttons solo game, which is a great implementation of the Gloomhaven system in a small box package. I remember when this game was on Kickstarter for the first time and seeing Isaac Childress, I watched the Man vs. Meeple preview interview with Isaac Childress pulling out all the content from this ginormous box and just thinking, I got to have that. I chose not to back it. I remember regretting that afterwards, and then especially as it was starting to fulfill, being super upset that I didn't end up backing it. I went into my local game store one day, and there was a giant package on the counter that they had just arrived from the delivery truck, and they were opening it to catalog it at that point. And I went up to the counter and I said, "Is that Gloomhaven by chance?" And they go, "Yep, this is Gloomhaven." And they go, "This is the only copy we got." And I asked, "Is that reserved for anybody?" And they go, "No, actually, nobody. It's not reserved, so you could buy it." And I was like, "I'm buying that right now." And I dropped the money and I bought it point blank before they had even taken it out of the box. And it was the only one available for months and months and I got it at a retail price instead of those jacked up post Kickstarter prices. So it was really great. And then I played through the entire campaign, made a lot of great memories. That friend Tyler, who did Terra Mystica with me, also played through this whole campaign with me, and it was a great experience. So this is one that will always be near and dear to my heart. I love it. I know you guys haven't played Big Box Gloomhaven. I think, Tyler, you've done...
I've got 11 plays with Shelley and Logan. And
I thought you did Jaws of the Lion. You did the Big Box as well?
Yeah, we've played the Big Box. I would love to go back to it. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and it was hard. It got to the point where it was just hard for us to get to the table with how busy life is and having another kid and all this, just life happens. And
I think my biggest problem with it, and I wonder if you experience this at all, is feeling like you're grinding to an extent.
Yeah, a little
when
bit.
You get to a scenario that you're like, I just can't get past this scenario. I have to
Yeah.
play it over and over until I beat it.
that's a little
and I
rough.
like fail forward kinds of things. I wish there was more of a fail forward system in Gloomhaven at times, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well deserving of the spot that it has had near or at the top of the all-time BGG
Yeah,
list of top games, right?
for sure. So yeah, that's my number 17, Gloomhaven.
So my number 17 game is designed by Philip Malinsky and is published by Lucky Duck Games. This is a game that I played all the way through with Logan, and we talked about it in episode 58. It is Divinus. And I love the art style. I love the gameplay. This is, you have a hand of dice that you roll at the beginning of a new round, or at the start of the game, and then as you exhaust all your dice by placing them, then you'll re-roll them again as a rest action. But then you combo these dice in a way to select a tile that's available on the board and then add it to your 4x4 tableau of tiles. And each tile has different scoring considerations. It's a campaign game that you play through, I think, maybe 12 games. And the tiles are constantly being upgraded with stickers. You upgrade your dice with stickers. It's an app-driven game with a very good narrative experience and story. Very well done app. I absolutely loved this experience. How you combo the dice, if I want a tile that's in the 9 spot, I can play, 2 6s and a 3. So 6 plus 6 is 12, minus 3 is 9. Or I can play a 4 and a 5. So you can combo your dice in many different ways to try and get the tiles that you want to draft. The scoring changes, some of the goals change every game from game to game. I looked tonight at the app, and the expansion Shadows of Yggdrasil is available to now be played. So I was talking to Logan, and we're going to get this played soon, hopefully. And then it also has some of the other extra content from the Kickstarter. I think there was 6 new different missions or games for that as well. So it was fantastic. It far exceeded my expectations, and I love having it in my collection. Once you play through the whole campaign, you can play infinitely with your now very custom game with unique tiles and stickers and dice and stickers, and awesome game. So good. That is number 17, Divinus.
All right, my number 16 is, it was my number 7 previously, designed by Daniel Tassini. This is Teotihuacan, City of Gods. I actually got shipping notification today.
Oh, you did?
For the Kickstarter.
I did not.
Yeah, so that is on its way.
Cool.
At least the shipping label has been printed. It's actually not on its way yet, but it's coming shortly, right?
3 weeks from now.
Yeah, so getting all the upgraded bits, getting the box and a few other promos and stuff like that. I had forgotten completely what I ordered, so I looked through everything. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm getting that. Yeah. I'm getting the player mats and stuff. So
Nice.
So I'm excited for that. I played this game, I don't know how many times. I think we're up over 100 plays just on BGA alone. That's where most of my plays have been. I really wish the expansions were on there, but I love the base game. And we currently have a game going now, which is fantastic. Yeah. I love it. We finished a game recently, which was super fun. The game is essentially just a large rondel, and you have dice that represent workers, and your workers are going to be going to these worker placement spots. You're going to be building the temple. You're going to be adorning the temple with adornments and stuff. You're going to be moving up on the Avenue of the Dead. There's tracks and more tracks and more tracks that you can move up and get bonuses as you move up the tracks. You can collect masks, you collect other tiles that give you bonuses. So much to do in this game. And I remember when we initially started playing it, we were so overwhelmed at all of the different choices. But really, once you get to know the game, it plays so smooth and so well. And it's just a fantastic game that I'm still not sick of after over 100 plays.
I've got 136. And
awesome.
I love this game. I love the table presence of it. I'm excited for the deluxeified version to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an excuse to get it to the table and to get Tyson to play it with us.
Yeah, for sure.
When you get the new Kickstarter content, I will happily play it on the table. I've played it several times on BGA. It was just too big for me to fully wrap my head around everything, especially since async turns and things like that.
Yep.
But I love dice placement. I love the rondelle of it. I like what it was doing. I just need a table experience to finally figure out what's going on with it.
Yeah, I love the dice workers and how they get more experienced and more powerful,
and then
they do an action.
Yes,
that's just awesome. And also going to the same location where you already have two of your dice that are high powered or higher numbers, and then you move another one there and you get tons of stuff. If it's like a stone or a gold collection location,
and you're setting that up for multiple turns, and then you get a big payoff. You're like, that feels awesome. And then if you can ascend one of your dice or two of your dice at the same time, you have this mega turn where you're comboing everything. It's like, whoa, that was awesome. But then your workers go down to measly little ones, right? And you got to build
pathetic.
them. Yeah, you got to build them back up again.
Yeah,
it's just there's so much to love about this game. So that's my number 16, Teotihuacan, City of Gods.
My number 16 was higher up on Tyler's list, or lower, whatever we're saying this is. Higher, lower.
Sounds tired.
Yeah. Hey, wake up over there.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm going to be sitting for the next while because there's a lot of overlap happening. Dead Reckoning is my number 16.
All right.
And I am a big fan of it for all the reasons we discussed. It's my quintessential pirate game. Love it. Dead Reckoning.
Nice. What number are we on? 16? My number 16 is another Roxley Games game designed by Gavin Brown, Matt Tolman, and Martin Wallace. This is Brass Birmingham. Beautiful game. It's currently number 1 overall on BGG. I didn't realize that until just 2 seconds ago. But train networking game, expanding from city to city. This can be an unforgiving game, but I love the card play, and you have a limited number of cards that you get to play each round, or each half of the game, and you can use your card to go to a location or build a type of building. I don't know. This is a tight, economic, beautiful game. It's been replaced a little bit for
replaced by Nucleum.
We'll maybe talk about that a little bit.
If it's been replaced, then I'm pretty sure we will.
But this is still a fantastic game. I love both brasses, for the record. Birmingham adds a little bit more over Lancashire, but both of them are amazing and beautiful. The production quality is amazing, and of course we got the iron clays out of these games. And
best addition to any game ever.
I feel like they should.
Right?
They belong on the top 50 list as their own entry,
own category.
The iron clays.
Yeah, it's just the iron clays.
Oh, you read my mind. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. They are amazing. Best accessory ever. So this is my number 16, Brass Birmingham.
All right, my number 15 is Iron Clays. No, just kidding. No, this one's already been talked about by Tyson in the last episode. Lost Ruins of Arnak. This was number 8 on my list last time. Dropped a little bit to 15, but still a fantastic game. Designed by Elwin and Min. Great deck builder. I love how tight the resources are in this game and how it's an efficiency puzzle to try to figure out how to do the actions. A lot of times in the game, you're faced with something that you don't think you can do, but then you see, oh, I can take this artifact that then will allow me to get this assistant. And if I use this assistant, it gives me this resource, which lets me defeat this guardian, which is cool and a fun experience. It's got the tracks and it's got variability on the tracks where you can flip it over and do the snake track, which is different. There's just so much to love about this game. We've already talked about it a lot. Fantastic game that I enjoy playing every time. And that is my number 15, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
My number 15 is also a deck builder that has also been discussed already. At least the system has Clank, a deck building game. I haven't played Clank Catacombs, would love to, but I've played Clank, Clank in Space, Clank Sunken Treasure, Clank Legacy. I have yet to play Clank Catacombs, but they're all essentially the same system and do a lot of really fun things. I know that Clank Catacombs and Clank Legacy are probably the biggest changes on that system, but I love everything you said, Tyler, about the whole go in the dungeon, find what you need, get out of the dungeon, hope everybody else dies in the dungeon, right? Like, I love the experience.
Good riddance, you jerks. Yeah.
It's great, and I've been wanting to get the base game out again, maybe try it with my kids when they're ready, but I love this game. So that's my number 15, Clank.
Nice. My number 15 was previously my number 15 2 years ago.
Whoa.
This is a game from Adam Kwapinski and Awaken Realms, Nemesis.
Tainted Grail. Oh.
No. Nemesis. This is essentially Aliens, the board game. And I think I might actually like Nemesis Lockdown, the second iteration, more, but I don't have as many plays. Nemesis is just awesome. You could have be playing a completely cooperative game, or you can play where other players are trying to kill certain players as their objective. Multiple different objectives and conditions have to be met for players to win. And those conditions might conflict with each other. In addition to potentially fighting against other players, you also have aliens roaming the ship that you're on. It's very cinematic experience.
Very thematic. You can throw Molotov cocktails at people.
Yeah, you know, Kevin and I are working together to kill aliens. And the next thing I know, he steps out of the room and yoink, throws a Molotov cocktail in the room and kills me.
It was amazing. It was
awesome.
Part of my objective.
Yes.
I want you to know that.
It wasn't just willy-nilly. Let's kill Tyler.
At least that's my story. And
I thought it would have been funny if it had been.
Yeah.
It's fine with that too.
Yeah, no, it's good.
It's a little bit hard to get to the table, but I love this game, and I think it's fantastic.
I did feel bad for Ben. And we played the lockdown, and he was gone for about early on, and there was like 2 hours left in the game.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a little bit of a kick in the gut.
In the first one, there is a variant that you can play with in the rule book where the first person that gets eliminated now plays
the alien,
as the aliens. And I'm sure you could probably do that with Lockdown too. I don't know.
Have you guys seen the movie Alien or Aliens?
Yes.
Yeah. I had never watched it. Right. And there's Alien Romulus that just came out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I feel like that's a gap in my movie knowledge.
Yeah.
So I went and watched Alien and Aliens. Great shows.
Yeah. Alien.
I like them.
Aliens, okay. Aliens is my favorite of
That's
them.
your favorite?
Yeah.
I like both of them.
I like both of them. But Aliens.
But you like
best.
Aliens better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
We're gonna die, man. We're so screwed.
Is it Bill Paxton? Or?
I don't remember. I don't know what his name, but his character is like, man, you're over the top, dude. You need to chill.
Screwed, man.
You need to chill out.
Aliens are coming.
Well, okay. He has every right to be freaking out. Sure. But
It's a horror movie, and the game Nemesis is a good horror experience, as close as you can get with board games, except for maybe Nyctophobia, which is the closest I think you can get.
I don't
to
want you
dirty,
touching my hand again.
One thing I will say too, Nemesis playing solo or Nemesis Lockdown is a great experience. My number 15, Nemesis.
All right, my number 14 dropped from number 9 on a previous list, the previous list that we did, designed by Juma Al-Juju. This is Clans of Caledonia.
Oh, so good.
Fantastic game. We currently have a game going on BGA, which is super fun. I love it. Every time I play this game, it's great. So you're a clan in Scotland, and you are putting out distilleries, and you're baking bread, and you're getting cows and sheep out onto the board. And as you're doing this, you're uncovering things on your board, and you're fulfilling contracts, and you're trying to control areas of the map. There's just so much to this game. Probably the best part of the game is the market. I think the market is super fascinating. As you buy more, it's supply and demand, right? And you have this little marker where the commodity can become more expensive or it can become less expensive. And trying to time that is super fascinating. You get neighborhood bonuses where certain things can become cheaper, which is really cool. And money can be very tight, and it can come down to one. You missed out by one money, and you don't get what you need, and that could be the difference in the game. It's just a super fun
high speed training.
Yeah, high speed training. We played it wrong for quite some time,
for
but
like
then
a year.
Yeah, and then our buddy Dan said, "Hey, you can't do that," and we're like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
But the game's still awesome.
But the game's still fantastic. So absolutely love it. It's my number 14, Clans of Caledonia. If you want to hear more about this, we did interview Juma.
The summer, right? Or
yeah, it was just
early spring,
or early spring, where we talked about the expansion that's coming out, which is I'm super excited for.
Yes,
and we'll have more to say about that when that one comes out.
I love. So the game that we're playing right now, it's you, Kevin, and me, and Saja, and the comment that he made earlier on in the game.
Yeah.
I see the meta has evolved since last we played. Those are some pretty impressive and fast walls.
Yeah,
right?
Because the way we're playing, for some reason, we're just blocking off whole sections of the map,
Yeah.
Which is an interesting way to play, right? Yeah.
I love, like Terra Mystica and like Gaia Project, as you uncover those spots on your board, those become your production that you receive at the end of or the start of each next round. And that concept is really cool. Like you said, the market is amazing. And that's one of my favorite parts of the game. So amazing game.
It's fantastic. My number 14.
My number 14 has been discussed in this episode.
Wow.
It is
You got quite a stretch here.
Bitoku.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Okay.
Which obviously, for the same reasons you talked about, Tyler, I love this game and want to play this game more. It is a great experience. That's 14, Bitoku.
So my number 14 has been talked about as well in this episode. And it's a system, the Undaunted system. I'm only going to have one entry on my list, and it is Battle of Britain, which you had as your number 20. Every single time regardless of which Undaunted game I've played, every single experience has been fun.
Yep.
And so many times it has come down to turn order that determined the winner. Initiative on that last round.
Yep.
Right. But I do love the Battle of Britain system. Just the dogfighting aspect, the out of comms, fog of war equivalent.
Running into the side of the board because you don't plan well enough.
But no, just such a great game. I'm so excited to get Callisto soon. The next iteration of Undaunted.
Should come next month.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yep.
I am still excited to get back to Stalingrad. I need to finish my campaign with Logan, but love Battle of Britain and Undaunted in general. That is my number 14 of my top games of all time.
All right, we're gonna keep moving quickly through this list because my number 13 is Clank Catacombs.
Hey.
That's a new to the list. We don't need to talk about this anymore, but that's my number 13.
My number 13 was a game that I was thinking somebody else would mention before me, but I'm guessing that I'm first, and this will not be the last time we hear this one. It is Pulsar 2849, designed by Vladimir Suchy and published by Czech Games Edition. I love this game. Of all the Vladimir Suchy games, this is my favorite. It is a dice drafting game of space empire, like, amazingness. Like, I love
Amazing.
I love that description.
it is phenomenal in what you're doing in this game. Vladimir Suchy, we've talked about, always has something that stands out in his designs, and the dice drafting in this game stands out. The turn order in this game stands out. Like, trying to vie for turn order and getting where you want to go in turn order so that you're drafting the right dice at the right time, allowing you to do the actions that you want to do, is so fun in this game. I love the variability of the technologies. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, that whole technology
Tree thing,
or whatever
right?
tree. Yeah.
Where-
And planning ahead for that, and what do you want to get, and are you going to be able to get there first, and the variability of it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, it's the variability of it is what stands out to me, that every single game of this can be different because of the amount of variability. Each layer of that tree gets to be interchangeable with different types of goals and strategies and things like that you're going through.
Yeah, we played a game at Cabin Con, and I thought I had it tied up. And Dan, I think I went transmitters, and then Dan did something else, and two completely different strategies. And I think he eked out the win or something. It was just a crazy game and so much fun.
What the heck was I playing? We played this. You guys played this at Cabin Con?
Yeah.
Yeah. Up at Winter Park.
I think it was the three of us that played it, actually.
Yeah,
Was this when I was playing Revive with Ben and Greg? Or
Could have been. Maybe you're hanging out in the hot
No,
tub.
this
I
was
don't
Winter
know.
Park one.
Winter Park.
Yeah, this was Winter Park.
It wasn't
Maybe
the
I
most
was in
recent
that
one.
game. I
We were
don't
up
know.
on top.
Yeah,
That table
the
up.
big table.
The big table
okay.
up there.
Yeah.
Not the big table.
So-
but-
No, you're right.
Yeah.
So I need to get this one back to the table to rekindle the fire a little bit.
I still remember that first game that we played,
Yeah.
and we were all sitting around the table. Our minds were all blown by the dice drafting mechanic. We're like, "Holy cow, this is amazing!" And that game that we played, I think we ended up tying or something, and it was like some like super improbable tie, and we're like, "Whoa, that was crazy! It was so
Yeah.
much fun!" Yeah, this game's great.
We need to get this back to the table.
Yeah.
'Cause-
No, for sure. This is like what it does is great, and I think that it adds. I don't have a ton of plays of this game, but the memories from this game are fantastic. And every game I've played of this game, I've lost. Like dead last. And I think it says a lot that if a game can be that high on my top 50 list and I've never come close to winning,
it's a good
there's
game.
something good about this game.
Yeah,
I love the pulsars that you're trying to, the gyrodynes that you're trying to spin,
You're trying
and
to spin 'em, yeah.
get the goals, the traveling around the board. There's so much to
So there's
love
the
about this game.
exploration because you're traveling
flipping
over
planets
stuff, and there's a lot to like about this one.
For sure. So that is my number 13, Pulsar 2849.
All right. My number 13 used to be a little bit higher on my list. It was number 6 before. This is designed by David Turtsey and is from Mind Clash Games. This is Anachrony. And I think this is a beautiful design, an amazing game. I love the table presence, the loan mechanic of going back in time and then going back in time and paying off those loans, borrowing from the future. Really cool. Love the uniqueness of this theme and everything about it. I don't want to say too much because I know you guys are going to have more to say about this in the future.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's possible.
The engine building in this game is fantastic. Yeah. There's
Worker placement, slotting your workers into
specialized workers
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah.
There is-
Yeah, so that's my number 13, Anachrony.
All right. So I said that Daybreak was my second highest cooperative game. It was not. This is my second highest cooperative game. Aeon's End. This is designed by Jenny Iglesias and Nick Little. as well as Kevin Riley, with art done by Gong Studios. And I will say I'm not a huge fan of the art, but that is okay. The gameplay is fantastic. So I love this game. It's a cooperative game. I love the sense of impending doom that this game gives you, because it is overwhelming and you think you're going to die. And a lot of times you do die. But it seems like more often than not, you're able to come together and get an improbable win at the end, and it's super exciting. This game has a million expansions, and the expansions that I played are all super fun. I have not explored all of the content. This is basically the Aeon's End system, right? Because I played Aeon's End Legacy, at least the first 3 or 4 games of that, and very similar feel, and it's a lot of fun. So I know you guys aren't big fans of cooperative games, so you don't like it.
I've never played it.
I mean, it creates a similar vibe to Cthulhu Death May Die, where it feels like impending doom, improbable win, and then you pull it out and it feels good and it's awesome.
Yeah, and everybody's cheering around the table. So
and the turn order is really cool.
I love that. So the game does 2 things that I think are super unique and super fun. The turn order is variable. So you shuffle 2 Nemesis cards in there in the deck, and then you have 4 other cards, depending on how many you're playing with. So if you're playing with 4 players, it's 1 through 4, and everybody's assigned a number. So you shuffle those up, you flip the card over, and then that's who's taking the turn, right? Which awesome. I love that. If you're playing with 2 players, then you get to take 2 turns per round, which you can take a double turn. And then if you're at the end, you take a turn, and then you shuffle them up, and the next round you can take a turn again, and then maybe another turn. It creates some opportunities to make some really interesting, unique plays.
And it does something unique with the deck. I assume that's just the second thing.
The deck. Right? It's a deck builder that you never shuffle your deck, right? So how you discard your cards is how you're going to draw them, because when your draw pile is done, you take your discard pile, flip it over, it becomes your draw pile. So it makes for interesting decisions on how you discard your hand, right? Are you going to load up these big, powerful cards next to each other? And there's cards that get more powerful as if they're drawn together, that type of thing. So there's cool synergies there. I love deck builders. It could be my favorite mechanic. I don't know. This one does it really well. So that's Aeon's End, my number 12.
Awesome.
It was number 4 before. Dropped a little bit, but still great.
It's the art.
It's the art. The art is bad. It's not good. It's just really cheesy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which has never drawn me towards it, like, at all. Like, it's a cooperative game, but I do love the concept of a cooperative game that impending doom, that sense of I'm gonna die. Wait, I can make it, but no, I'm gonna die. Oh, there's a chance. I have a chance to win. I love that kind of feeling in a cooperative game. So I would love to play this one, but yeah, the art on it has always kind of set me back on it. Like, thinking maybe I wouldn't be interested in it.
Yeah, just give it a shot. You may like it.
I mean, you've got it. You gotta pull it out.
Too many games, not enough time.
Too many games, not enough time. Yep, that's right.
Well, this is a game that we've decided is enough time, because it's a triple crossover for me on my number 12.
Whoa.
Railways of the World.
Nice.
We've discussed it. We've discussed it in this episode. I love this game. I've got 32 plays of it. I love the amount of maps that is in this game and the ability to change the play styles and things like that. But I won't belabor this one since it's on all of our lists. It's an amazing game. That's my number 12, Railways of the World.
My number 12 is on Kevin's list, and he talked about it a few games ago. Teotihuacan.
Oh, nice.
City of Gods. Love this game. I don't know what else to add to it, but it's a fantastic rondel dice worker game, and it's one of my favorites. I want to play the expansions more.
I do too,
and I'm
really
excited
liked
for
them.
the deluxe version to come to then maybe dive into some of the expansions more than I have in the past.
Yeah.
But they change the game up in interesting ways and make it a whole new experience in some ways. So
agreed.
Need to get those to the table. Number 12, Teotihuacan.
All right. So my number 11 is a game designed by Rob Davio.
This is your last one of the episode.
This is.
Yeah.
This is it. It's designed by Rob Davio.
Sounds like it's been discussed, maybe.
Matt Leacock and Alan Moon. Oh, it's Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West. We are 9 games into the campaign. And so we've got 10, 11, and 12. And it's been such a fun, cool experience. I've absolutely loved it. I love Ticket to Ride as it is. This one just kicks it up a notch and adds so many different mechanics and so many different things to do. Not going to spoil anything, but it's been so much fun, and I'm super excited to see how it all pans out. But it has the same tension as normal Ticket to Ride, right? So we talked about this before. You've got the tension of, can I complete my tickets? And is somebody going to block me from where I need to go, right? And you get to the end of the game, and sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not, which I love that. I love that tension. And it comes through in this version with all kinds of cool stuff added on top, and you're opening boxes and doing the legacy things, which is fantastic. So that's my number 11. Ticket to Ride, Legacy, Legends of the West.
Nice.
The last time we did 2 years ago, our top 30 lists, this was rated 24 for me.
Whoa.
Rarely do I see such a climb of that nature from an existing list on my game on my list. But we have, as a group, started playing this game. It is a game that before I had played by myself, and finally you guys got on board, bought copies, or at least pulled the copies you had off of your shelves and started playing it.
I want to know what it is.
We've talked about this game already. It's Arkham Horror, the card game.
All right, there we go.
I love this game. For all the reasons we've discussed in this episode already, it is phenomenal, but it is grown for me because of that shared experience that we've had. I think that this game has the potential for more growth for me as we go on, and it is one that could continue climbing potentially the more we get it played. It is a cooperative game, obviously, and those are hard to get high up on my list, but this one is right up there. I love it, and I'm so glad that we've been able to start playing this one. So my number 11 is Arkham Horror, the card game.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Let's play.
Yeah.
Right now, after Nuclear.
Yeah. My number 11 and last game of the episode is Star Wars Unlimited. This came out this year. I love everything about it. Designed by Jim Cartwright, Tyler Parrott, Daniel Schaefer, and Jeremy Zwirn, and published by Fantasy Flight Games. Just most of my games are against Logan. I've played with Jason over FaceTime, and I played with Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names. I love the building of your deck. I love trying the different bosses, and just it creates every time Logan and I play with a new deck, it creates new experiences, and is just such a fun and enjoyable time. And currently he has a deck that is destroying me every time we play. Every time one of us gets to that point, the other player tries to create a deck that can then match or at least compete with the current winning deck. So we're having a blast with this. I am excited for the third set to come out later this year in November. Absolutely love it. Star Wars Unlimited. Kevin, you tried it out at Gen Con last year, not this year.
I did, and it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was only like a half hour that we had to play, and we got in a game and a half, But it was cool. The ground forces and the air, space forces, that was really cool. Yeah.
So I grew up loving Star Wars, not so much anymore. Kevin,
you had to throw that in.
You kind of bought into the Lorcana.
Yeah.
I bought into Star Wars Unlimited. At some point, it would be fun to do a little bit of crossover and play the other games. But
absolutely,
I'd be all for that.
I thought you were saying he makes a Lorcana deck and you make.
I don't know how well that would work.
I could see how you could mash them.
If we could get that to work, that'd be pretty.
No, I would love to try Lorcana and vice versa. I'm sure. So.
I'm surprised this isn't in your top 10.
It's close. It got up there.
Right there.
There are some amazing games left to be talked about. So.
Yeah, there is for sure. Cool.
So my number 11, Star Wars Unlimited, closing out the episode.
Are we under 4 hours?
We are.
None of that recorded.
Did we not record any of this?
We're like at 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
It's 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Half of Tyson's list was just repeats of what we've already talked about.
We had more overlap in this episode than
We did.
than we had in the last
way more,
episode. So
yeah.
We knew that was going to happen.
We did.
For
yeah.
sure.
But it was still fun, and
It was awesome.
Still exciting to hear what's on your guys' lists. And
Yeah.
there's been a couple times where I've been like, oh, yeah, that game's awesome. We need to play that more.
Well, like we talked about, I come away from these recording sessions wanting to play all of these games,
ones.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it reminds me how much I love these games. You
Yeah.
know? It's awesome.
Cool. Well, next episode, we'll get into our top 10 of all time.
The best of the best.
Yep.
Cream of the crop.
It's going to be awesome. Hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Check us out. Join our Discord.
Tell us what your top 10, top 50.
Yeah. Predict what
Top
you think
100.
our top 10
Yeah.
games are going to be. If you're a long-time
If you're a long-time listener, predict our top 10. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And if you're new and you haven't given us a review on whatever you're listening to us on, please give us a review. We appreciate every review we get. We read them all. We like them. And it helps us reach more people so that we can share our passion for this hobby with others.
Nice.
I love it. Totsins.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you want more Longest Turn in your life, please check us out on Instagram. Also, be sure to check us out on Board Game Geek, where you can join our guild, Guild 3947, and check out our blog, where we post all our show notes and occasionally post more detailed reviews. If that's not enough for you, we have a Discord server. If you want to play a game with us on Board Game Arena, join our Board Game Arena group, The Longest Turn. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Totsins.
Goodbye.
See you later.
All right. Ready? Welcome to The Longest Turn. This is episode
86 points of squares and major points part of your game. That's not what it is.
That
61.
sentence did not make sense.
Sorry. Okay. My number 18 is a game that we've heard these designers already mentioned on this episode. Oh, nope, these wrong designers. My bad. I was thinking Econ Marcus Brand. That's not who designed this. All right.
Oh, you can talk about the exit games or what?
No.
Oh, that'd be high.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me.
Tyson's dying. Are you okay?
No.
He's just mostly dead.
I've been trying not to lose my breath the whole day. Yeah. All right.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.